I'm Nate Putterball with your sports update. The Cleveland Guardians were in Tampa Bay last night to take on the Rays, and they got roughed up 11-3. They remain a game and a half back in the AL Central. They try to get back on track this evening with Tanner Bybee on the mound, taking on Nick Martinez. First pitch is at 6:10. Eugenio Suarez hit a 2-run homer to help lead the Cincinnati Reds past the St. Louis Cardinals last night 4-2. Game 2 of that series comes your way tonight at 7:15 with Hunter Green of the Redlegs taking on Andre Palat. Catch all the action right here on The Fan. Hell is Real returns to Scott's Miracle Grow Field tonight as Columbus Crew SC takes on FC Cincinnati. Kickoff is at 7:15. In NFL news, Kansas City Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes has been cleared for full activity in training camp. And, of course, the big NBA news of the week, Lebron Watch has ended, announcing yesterday he signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the 76ers. Bringing sports news weapons to The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The Fan is live and local with Fan Sports Saturday. The Fan Sports Day of the Week. Oh, this is some clever branding. Here's your host, Place Name Here.
And Place Name Here has had about 24 hours to process LeBron to the Philadelphia 76ers. Eric Rieser, Dylan Tyrer, you heard Nate there in the update. King James has taken his talents to Philly. 2-year deal. Interested to see how that second year goes if they don't win a title in year one with him. But I came away yesterday, Dylan, disappointed that it wasn't my Cleveland Cavaliers landing LeBron for the second I guess this would have been the second reunion, his third stint with Cleveland. But I recognize that Philadelphia has a better ready-made roster, and it doesn't have James Harden. That's kind of where I was hung up with this whole entire series, or the LeBron watch. I think we did 24 days from when he officially became a free agent to the news Friday at around 11:30 Eastern. That this roster that the Cleveland Cavaliers have right now is not ready to compete legitimately for an Eastern Conference championship. You saw them in the final. You saw 4 games, and they were 4 very forgettable contests, especially game 1 against the New York Knicks. The James Harden contract, it was done at the deadline for desperation. They had Darius Garland. You couldn't rely on him and his health. And so the roster that Cleveland had wasn't enough, in my opinion, to sway LeBron to come. But you pretty much put all your eggs in the LeBron basket for Cleveland, and it turned out to not be the case, as, again, he is with the 76ers, a much better ready-made championship-chasing roster than what he'd had in Cleveland. And I'm trying to think around the league if there was a better landing spot for him. If he truly, as a 41-year-old, wanted to win a championship next season, the Sixers are probably the best option roster-wise.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because I agree with you in that sense that their roster is there. Like, it looks like almost an Olympic-level roster when you look at Joel Embiid, Maxey, et cetera, et cetera. You've got Jaylen Brown there now. I feel like people almost forget about that with LeBron going there. But they were kind of an afterthought, right? Like in the lead up to the actual decision, which I want to talk about the decision by LeBron too and the way that he did it. People didn't talk about Philly as like a real thing, right? It was kind of the Cavs, the Heat, and then if he was going to do something crazy, it was going to go to the Warriors and do the all-unk team with the Warriors. And instead, he goes to the 76ers, and I think this is probably his best chance at chasing a championship. But, you know, if he would have gone to the Warriors, that would have been intriguing when it comes to the championship conversation. A really good team, but a really old team. And, of course, you join a very top-heavy West. Now you go to the East, it's a stacked Eastern Conference, but the Sixers now maybe are the best team in the Eastern Conference, depending on how it all works. Like, everybody's got to get the ball there at some point, right? Like, they're going to have to figure out the chemistry, the mojo for that team, because they've got a lot of good players that demand the basketball. But if it works out, I mean, I would not be surprised at all to see them as the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, so when the decision was happening, or we were awaiting with bated breath for what LeBron was going to do, Philadelphia was buried behind Miami, Cleveland, behind Boston, obviously New York for best odds to win the East. And then when you talk about NBA odds, they were buried behind those 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. I think Detroit was up there as well. I mean, remember, Detroit was the 1 seed last season. But then you had teams in the West, like you mentioned, the San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. All were favored by Vegas more so than Philadelphia.
Minneapolis was in there too, right?
Because there was questions of the Timberwolves. Would they be able to convince LeBron to come join that team with LaMelo Ball Anthony Edwards. And no, was probably not going to be ever the question there. But even after yesterday's news, the Sixers jump all of those teams except the Knicks, except the Spurs, and except the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think while there's a lot of excitement, and there should be in Philadelphia with how LeBron has now added to it, a LeBron who was an MVP consideration 2 seasons ago, was as efficient as he's been in a long time last season, even as a 40, 41-year-old athlete, you still wonder, all right, is that able to put them over the top? Philadelphia in terms of the East, and then in terms of an NBA championship contention. And probably is the answer. Mm-hmm. But there's still questions. But roster-wise, now you think that's I still can't put them over the Knicks because I just saw the Knicks win the championship. There was conversation, from Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, that LeBron wanted New York, but they won the championship, and so LeBron didn't want to do what KD did. Yesterday's news does solidify that for me, that it would have been New York had they not won the championship. Disappointing from a Cleveland Cavaliers standpoint, because now I look to see with the Cavs, what the hell are you doing? Because the offseason has so far just been a Donovan Mitchell extension. The Harden news is going to hit like a kick in the nuts, because that was done in desperation. I understand the move, but he's a guy who you have seen his best days gone by, and you've seen how bad it looks in the postseason with him just walking to the top of the key with the ball and standing there. And that's it for the Cleveland Cavaliers on the roster going into next season, and that's not enough. I mean, Deion Gilbert's paid $240 million to get what? Fun times with Donovan Mitchell, and I think LeBron saw that. He also saw, and this is from Brian Windhorst of ESPN, that Darius Garland, who's also a clutch sports athlete, dealing him to the Los Angeles Clippers solidified things, I think, a little bit from can this Cavs roster get me there with 2-3 years? It was funny in his 5-paragraph, too long, didn't read statement, he thought LeBron did after they got swept by the Thunder in the Western Conference semifinals, that he was going to hang it up. Like, nobody believes you, dude. Like, you knew that LeBron was at least going to play 1 or 2 more seasons, and his final season, he's going to let everybody know this is my final season, because he's getting that farewell tour.
Well, the way that he announced it, and I want to talk about this with you because I think it's really interesting, honestly. You think back to the way that LeBron James has done things throughout his career. There has been so much pomp and circumstance. And I think with that in mind, everybody thought that he would go somewhere, go to a team that made sense maybe emotionally for him. A lot of people liked him going back to the Cavs because it's a storybook ending to his career, and even an opportunity to compete there with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he didn't do that. The other thing, going to Golden State, kind of like a going to the Heat 2.0, but with your old pals this time. And you brought up the New York thing, and I think there's conversation out there now that, LeBron might even live close to New York and take a helicopter into Philadelphia for the games.
Wouldn't blame
him. But that's why I find this interesting, because there's not necessarily that emotional tie or that pomp and circumstance that we've come to know with LeBron James, that we've become accustomed to with LeBron James. And even the way that he announced it, he put it out on Twitter, right, and explained his reasoning on Twitter, which I thought was really, really interesting. But when it comes down to it, I think it's a decision for him that he wants to, cement the legacy, have an opportunity to compete at the end, and maybe get away from some of that LeBron that we're used to. Like, he's kind of flipping a switch in a way on some people, and in some ways he's not, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Like, it's a little bit different of a LeBron than I think we've come to expect.
And I think he's realized that, because I did expect something with a little more pomp and circumstance than a Shams bomb, followed by 6 tweets from King James. Like, I thought there was going to be maybe a video, maybe
it was a TV event when he went to Miami.
Something in that vein, but he did not. So yeah, I think he's going to look really good in that Sixers blue. I mean, their uniforms are pretty nice. I'm disappointed because now for the Cavaliers, and I this is how I look at it as a Cavs fan. Now what? Because all of your eggs are in the LeBron basket. He shuns you, understandably so. And now you can't sit there and say, with your next big announcement, a James Harden extension. That will go over poorly with the fan base. I think arbitration is a dirty word. And when it comes to the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think Blue Jackets fans just have like a negative connotation towards it. with players like Cole Sillinger, with players like Jet Greaves, I think you sit there and wonder, well, we don't want to sit him in a room and have him, lowball the player or have the player say, well, why don't you think I'm great? Look what I've been able to do for you. For Jet Greaves, you had 54 games last season, a 900 save percentage. I think there were a pair of shutouts in that. He's 25 years old. You want him to at least be at, you want first off, you want the person, then you want the player in your organization. And so you were hoping that they could avoid having to sit in that room and do something uncomfortable. You had the news yesterday, 3 years, $15 million for Jet. The news was made official this morning for Cole Sillinger. They avoid an arbitration hearing on Silly. And now for the Blue Jackets, you wait for the Adam Fantilli news. Aaron Portzline covers the Blue Jackets for The Athletic. He'll join us at 11:30. It's Big Ten Media Days this upcoming Tuesday in Chicago. So there'll be a lot of filibustering from Big Ten decision makers. Dylan, I'm interested with what you heard this past week at SEC Media Days, how, if at all, the Big Ten tackles the Protect College Sports Act, and if they even broach the subject of, we're not thrilled with how things are going right now for our conference in terms of how the conversation puts us in the SEC as the villain. We might just leave y'all, because that's what the SEC did about as loud and hard as they could. Does the Big Ten do something similar?
I am so fascinated to see the Big Ten's response to what the SEC has been loud this week, right? Like, you've heard a lot of things from their coaches. I think we have quotes from Lane Kiffin a little bit later on, talking about the records in the SEC versus the records in the Big Ten. The fact of the matter is the Big Ten has won 3 consecutive national championships, right? I think that's your argument right there, and you can look at all the players that have gone to the NFL. But it is going to be really, really interesting to see how Tony Petitti and the Big Ten position themselves after the SEC has kind of come out swinging. Like, does the Big Ten play it safe? And they're like, hey, we're the good guy in all this. Or do they double down and they're like, screw the SEC, we're the ultimate power conference here. We're the villain. We're in charge.
The SEC coaches were loud, and so was state media all week on ESPN.
It sure was. And you're probably not going to get a peep about Big Ten Media Days on the Worldwide Leader this week, other than it is going on, because the affiliation doesn't exist anymore. With the SEC, it's such a place of anger. And I think Greg Sankey, if you counted his 46-minute filibuster on Tuesday, I want to say, the word frustrated or some form of that word, frustration, was used 36, 37 times, and the coaches echoed that because, largely, to your point, Dylan, they're 0 for 3 in the last national championship games in terms of just being in the game.
Yeah.
So disappointing, frustrating. You're not going to have, I think, frustration from Big Ten coaches, but college football, college athletics needs to be figured out. And it's the Big Ten and the SEC, they're going to lead that charge. And so what's that going to sound like this week at Big Ten Media Days? Tony Petitti will be the first one to go on Tuesday. Ryan Day on the Ohio State contingent, they will go on Wednesday. We led the show with LeBron. LeBron is one of, if not the GOAT, in the NBA. There's a GOAT conversation to be had in the NFL with a quarterback who had some news yesterday that I think we knew this was coming, but what will it mean for this upcoming season in Patrick Mahomes? That's next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Save big money at Menards. College move-in is just around the corner, and Menards has great deals on all the essentials, like storage organizers, laundry baskets, cleaning supplies, and more. Plus, find everything you need for a stylish and efficient space, including rugs, furniture, mini fridges, and other dorm room must-haves. Get ready for move-in day and head to Menards to make your space yours. And don't miss other great savings in our weekly flyer at menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
This year, America celebrates 250 years of hard work, determination, and people who built something meant to stand the test of time. That same spirit lives right here in Central Ohio. In 1992, a 22-year-old named Tim Newman climbed onto a roof with a simple goal: do honest work, treat people right, and never cut corners. One roof became hundreds, hundreds became thousands, and every job was built on the same promise: a handshake you can trust. Today, a third generation of the Newman family is helping carrying that legacy forward, making sure the company will be here for your family, just like it's been for your neighbors for more than 3 decades. When it's time for a new roof, siding, or gutters, choose the company that's built its reputation the same way America was built, through hard work, integrity, and pride. Family owned, locally based, American proud. Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Whoa, what's all this? These screens, the food?
All for the game, bro.
Dude, let us pitch in.
No need. I've got it all covered. With T-Mobile, I'm saving $1,000 bundling my wireless and internet.
No way. Really?
Yep, and the price of my plan won't change for 5 years.
Wow, I'm definitely switching to T-Mobile.
Goal!
Here's to score big with T-Mobile. Families save up to $1,000 a year when they bundle fast, easy to set up, all-in 5G home internet with 4 phone lines on Experience Beyond. And your plan price? Guaranteed for 5 years. Stay connected con tu gente and catch every match with T-Mobile. Join now at T-Mobile.com. Price guarantee on talk, text, and 5G data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Savings based on third line free via monthly bill credits. Internet discount with $15 in monthly bill credits and auto-pay discount. Qualifying credit required. Credits may take up to 2 bill cycles and will stop if you cancel any lines or change plans.
Bring bold flavor to every cookout with Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Disasters strike. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. Direct Relief delivers. No politics, no red tape. Direct Relief is a lifeline to people in crisis. So check them out at directrelief.org. And if you can, donate.
Every summer morning is different. Luckily, Tim Hortons has a breakfast wrap for every morning. Kick off your summer with the bold new steak and egg wrap. Start your morning fresh with the egg white and Swiss wrap. Or keep it classic with the grilled breakfast wrap. No matter what summer mood you're in, you can always find a wrap at Tim Hortons. Your morning happy place.
Cash, moolah, greenbacks dough, Skrilla chips, bread and mo. 2, 5, 10, and 20, 30 big ones, games aplenty. Cheddar, butter, loot and scratch, find the letters. Make the match, cause there's many words for cash, no doubt. Many ways to play cash word. Check them out. Cash word from Ohio Lottery. It's game time, yo. Cash word, it's fun to go with millions in prizes, don't you know?
Lottery players are subject to Ohio law and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Thank you for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We make room for possibilities.
We've loaded the moving van and we're leaving a ton of stuff at our old address. Can you make it disappear?
All you have to do is point.
Can you come right now?
We're on our way.
We make space for hope.
We make space for dreams.
We make space for what matters.
We are 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Let us make room for your possibilities.
We can make your house happier.
And your future brighter.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Scotty Vegas here, and my new Bronco from Krieger Ford might go down as one of my best purchases of all time. I love it. The family loves it. I decided to get my wife's car some much-needed service. Krieger Ford conveniently picked up her car. I was prepared to spend a ton on repairs. Nope. They walked me through the problems and it was fixed and brought back to our driveway in a day. Plus, saved me some money for some summertime parlays. The Krieger Ford experience is awesome. See for yourself at KriegerFord.com.
Retirement from football hits everyone differently. For DeVere Posey and Dane Sanzenbacher, it means sitting around watching sports clips on the internet and arguing about them. Search for Didn't Catch That on YouTube and subscribe. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Saturday, and what a beautiful Saturday it is outside today. Right around average for your July day at this time of year. Highs right around 84 degrees, light breeze throughout the afternoon to help get you through it. You have a chance of seeing a drizzle or two later this afternoon. Really not a big rainmaker by any means, though. So you should be good on your Saturday plans outside. I'm your 10 Weather Impact meteorologist, Lily Aldridge, with 97.1 The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
We had talked in the first segment. Eric, Dylan, Nate with you until 1 o'clock today. We'll have Aaron Portzline of The Athletic join us at 11:30, and then Tyler Danburg of the Ohio State Sports Network will jump on at 12:30 as Ohio State gets ready to go to Chicago for Big Ten Media Days. You've got Ryan Day, Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sane, Jalen McClain going to Chicago. Buckeye contingent goes on Wednesday of that week. We will have coverage on The Fan from a YouTube standpoint, from a radio standpoint, from a digital standpoint. All of the social media will have coverage from Chicago starting next week. Heard, with LeBron going to Philadelphia, how their odds jumped. Obviously, when you add a player of that caliber. But with one of the best in the NFL, when news came out yesterday that Patrick Mahomes had been cleared to practice, with Andy Reid telling reporters in Kansas City that he's going to wear a brace this season, their odds just stuck around to where they've been for a couple of months, just around fifth, depending on if you use an alleyway bookie, if you use one of the prediction markets, or if you use the DraftKings. And I think everybody kind of saw this news coming. Like, Patrick Mahomes is going to be cleared for week 1. Justin Fields, is the backup in Kansas City. So there's still a little bit for me, Dylan, that wants Justin to make it work in the NFL. I think this is probably it, where you see him just floating around now as a backup that can come in and just run whatever offense Kansas City wants to run, whatever structure they want to have, because your starter is a wild child. And I think with NFL and the way it is now, they look at quarterbacks, because the LA Rams were the favorites in the offseason. Then they got Myles Garrett, and their odds just jumped to where nobody's catching them going into the season. If you want to put money down on the Rams winning the Super Bowl, you're not going to make too much off of it. Then you've also got the Cincinnati Bengals. You've also got the Buffalo Bills. And those, quarterbacks kind of play within a system, kind of play within what the offense wants to do. What Justin Fields, I think, needs is some structure. With Patrick Mahomes, you got to add talent around him, because he's going to be a wild child. And I'm interested with that ACL, if that inhibits it at all early.
Well, he said as much yesterday. He said he wants to do a little bit less running next season. And, I'm not sure what that's going to look like for the Kansas City Chiefs, because I think the bulk of their success comes from when he is playing outside of structure, right? At least the last couple of seasons, that's kind of how they ran their offense, because there's no more Tyreek Hill on the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce is their safety valve there, and he's simply not Travis Kelce anymore. I think they still have that chemistry, but physically, more drops for Travis Kelce, less yards after catch for Travis Kelce. And you see it when you watch Kansas City Chiefs games. Like, I know we're in Columbus, Ohio. I don't know how many people are watching the Chiefs week in and week out, but if you watch the Kansas City Chiefs, the way they play football, it's essentially Patrick Mahomes holds onto the ball, they wait for the play to break down, and they try and create an explosive play that way. Outside of that, they struggle, and they don't have the guys necessarily anymore to find those explosive plays within structure or even outside of structure. So I'm really curious to see what their offense looks like this season, if Mahomes is going to do less of that, less escaping. And you can't forget about their offensive line. Like, Joe Thuney was the big piece of their offensive line. He wasn't there last year and they struggled, and he's not going to be there this year. He's in Chicago with the Bears now. So there are a lot of different factors there with the Kansas City Chiefs. And obviously, I think everybody expected this to happen with Patrick Mahomes getting paid so much money, right? There's only so much money to fill out a roster. But they had to make trades on defense. Trent McDuffie now is on the Rams. Their defense, I think, got worse this offseason, despite, drafting a few different guys. But it comes down to the playmakers on offense. And don't forget, Rashee Rice is coming off the PUP list as well. He's had his own off-the-field issues, and he's their big playmaker alongside Travis Kelce. So it's going to be really, really interesting for Kansas City. And, if Mahomes really is the GOAT, like you led off with, like you teased with, it's going to come down to that guy kind of regaining the Super Bowl form, that MVP form that we saw, if they want to compete. Otherwise, it feels like that dynasty might be drying up a little bit.
Certainly when you lose a player like Tyreek Hill, and I think he's even trying to come back from his own injury.
Oh, he said the other day
he can't put weight on that leg that he snapped. Power. They did add Kenneth Walker. The Seattle running back now comes over for Kansas City. So I wonder, how much they give Walker to do early on in the year. Certainly the NFL schedule makers knew that or figured that this news from Mahomes was coming, that he was going to be ready to go week 1. They've got the first Monday nighter against the Denver Broncos. Then they've got one of the first 2 Sunday night football games against the Indianapolis Colts, but they are littered with 8:20s, 8:15s, 4:25s, and you're going to, I think, know before the month is over how it's going to look for Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if, now the schedule looks Denver, Indianapolis, Miami, Las Vegas, they're a bye week 5. Pretty pretty easy to hoe that row before you get into the Chargers, the Seahawks, and then the Broncos late October, early November there. But while Mahomes is great, I still think that this isn't a team that has it right now to compete for a Super Bowl. But because it's Mahomes, I can't sit here and say I can't sit here and say they'll be bums this year.
That's the funny thing, because how many times have we said that before, where it's like you're going into an AFC divisional game or an AFC title game or even the Super Bowl, and you're like, the Chiefs just aren't good enough. They're not good enough, man. And Mahomes is the guy.
Because the death ray is on the planet, and the aliens say you get to pick one quarterback. I think 9 of 10 NFL fans probably picking Mahomes.
Yeah, and because the Chiefs, they lost the Super Bowl convincingly a couple years ago to Philadelphia. And since then, I feel like the conversation has gone away from Patrick Mahomes and away from Kansas City. So that loss in the Super Bowl combined with their lack of success last year with Mahomes, and then, of course, the injury has them kind of strangely outside of the conversation. Then you talk about, Josh Allen. Is this the year for Josh Allen? He's in almost the exact same boat as Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Is this the year for the Ravens? Then, of course, you've got other teams in the AFC West itself. Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. They were great last season. Are they going to continue on that trajectory? You've got the LA Chargers, who I think have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl, which makes no sense at all to me. But people like them this season. And then you've got Kansas City and, of course, the Raiders with Mendoza are probably going to stink this year, but they're trying to build something in that division. It's a fascinating time for Kansas City, and it feels like one of those years where it's like they're either going to regain that form, they're going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, or we might be looking at the beginning of the end, maybe, for this franchise.
Yeah, it's an asterisk, right? Maybe. Because Mahomes has shown it before. There's been wow moments. You wonder if there's still more wow left in his tank. NFL teams are all going to be in training camp next week. Rookies for the Bengals report today. Rookies for the Cleveland Browns reported on Thursday. I think we are 2 weeks out from the Hall of Fame game. Yeah, Thursday,
That's crazy.
August 6th. You're going to get Cardinals and Panthers. Bengals will begin the preseason Thursday, August 13th against the Detroit Lions. Browns preseason play Saturday, August 15th at your Chicago Bears. Of course, when the Browns are on the field, the Browns will be on the fan, for better or for worse.
Yeah, well, hey, I like the Browns.
I've said this earlier in the week, and we had Joshua Perry on filling in, and Bishop and friends, that this is the last training camp I have to, as a Browns fan, deal with Deshaun Watson on the roster. So there's hope.
Hopefully.
That's all I got. Nate, it's very different levels of hope, very different, I guess, definitions of hope. Because you have hope for the Cincinnati Bengals because they upgraded defensively. They've got a healthy Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. That quarterback wide receiver trio, if the death ray's on the planet, I want them to lead the offense. They got a defense that's, on paper, great. They don't need to be great if that offense can score a bunch of points. So there's the hope that you go win the Super Bowl with this. With the Browns, you hope things can go in the direction of having Deshaun Watson off the roster. And maybe in that, you find out if Shedeur Sanders can be a guy. But likely, you're looking at quarterbacks in the 2027 draft. But hope will spring eternal for me for that, starting next week officially when the Browns with the Bengals begin training camp. Talked about Big Ten Media Days and the art of the filibuster. The SEC did a whole bunch of whining earlier this week. There's not going to be any similar poop in the Big Ten diapers. No, I think it's going to be kumbaya and a lot of happy times in the Windy City. We'll discuss that in 2 minutes. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Saving money on your next project now at Menards. Menards is the leading supplier of quality roof and floor trusses. Choose from our large selection of residential and post-frame trusses or design custom trusses specifically for your project. Get started on your building project today, in store or on menards.com. Plus, view our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Something big has just dropped at Hothead Burritos. Introducing barbecue pork carnitas. Juicy, mouth-watering pork carnitas. Our limited-time new citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Savor the summer flavor. Hothead Burritos. Get up and get you some.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
It's time time for sun and savings at Great Lakes Hyundai. Right now, get a new 2060 Elantra SE for $59 per month for a 2-year lease. Just $59 a month for the drive into summer sale. This month only. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with owner assurance and America's best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With approved credit $39.95 down. Plus tax, title, first month's payment. 7,500 miles per year. Ends 8-3.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Kroger app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's always easy to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
Did you know you can save up to $35 on your next fill-up? Redeem your points for big savings at the pump. Exclusions apply. See site for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Anytime is a great time to give to the Salvation Army, and now through August 1st, you can donate to a Red Kettle Thursdays through Saturdays at participating Kroger and Walmart stores. Join Atlas Butler, Jets Pizza, and our volunteers to give a little, change a lot. SalvationArmyCentralOhio.org.
We are your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan Ohio sports destination. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
So with Big Ten Media Days descending on the Windy City next week, the downtown Chicago Hilton will host festivities Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The Buckeyes will be part of a contingent Wednesday, July 29th that includes Oregon, that includes Purdue, that includes UCLA, Minnesota, and Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State.
I love that.
Which I don't know about that fit.
I love it.
He's the ultimate football guy, but in an era where you've got to be, diplomatic with players, or else they'll leave they'll hit the portal. They had their best receiver last year is in Bloomington. Like Nick Marsh took his gold cleats to Kurt Signetti.
I just think the culture. I mean, we don't need to go down the rabbit hole on Pat Fitzgerald, but I just think
3 hours.
I think the culture shift there for Michigan State absolutely has to happen. It is insane to me that we're talking 10 years later now. It's been 10 years since Michigan State was relevant in the college football landscape. Yeah. After always being relevant in the college football landscape.
Well, we have two prominent people at the Fan, Tyvis Powell and Joshua Perry, who dislike no team more other than Michigan State.
Yeah.
Because the Spartans were the folly for a couple of teams that had national championship aspirations. And I mean, go back to 1990, go back to the late 90s with Michigan State and a national championship folly for the Buckeyes. It's more so, I'd say, in the last 20 years, Michigan State has just been that team. And there's just the irrelevancy shocking, considering we all see the money that they've got in booster. They have Rocket Mortgage, they have Matt Ishbia, they have the one family whose name keeps escaping me, but just gave $400 million to the Spartans. What are you doing with all? What's the return on that look like? They're probably the most prominent position in college hoops is Tom Izzo, and he's pissed off at everybody there. So
the Williams family.
The idea, are they a Pittsburgh? What's their business? If you have it in front of you, if not, we'll get it. So I'm very interested to see how landing Pat Fitzgerald. They're not going to be good this season. Do they have patience with all of that money they're throwing into the football program? From Angelique Chingalis of the Detroit News, she had this morning with Ward Manuel's buyout details. He's going to step down as Michigan's athletic director at the end of the year. He's going to receive a lump sum payment of $7 million and then has a 2-year non-compete at any Big Ten institution. So the idea that he gets to kind of walk away, I wondered if he wanted to leave now, and they said, just please stick with us through the end of the year, end of the calendar year, so we have some time, because there's so much. I mean, the Mittens got so much turmoil with their two premier institutions, and Michigan and Michigan State, that I think for all the slings and arrows we throw at the Wolverines, it was probably smart of them to at least keep Ward to the end of the year so they don't have to look for an athletic director while they're trying to figure everything else out. It's a mess up there. And while we laugh, it annoys me a little bit that Manuel just gets to kind of walk away scot-free from all of this. But Michigan has to eat everything over the last 10 years, and they have to wear that forever. And when they talk on Thursday, new head coach Kyle Whittingham is going to have to answer some of these questions about what the hell did you know going into the job.
What a position for him to be put in, right? With everybody else gone, this is his first Big Ten Media Days. And it's here you go, buddy. You have to answer for all this.
Because you can't ask really the players about Ward Manley. He's the athletic director. What do the players know? But the coach, certainly everything that's gone on with the program, you want to get his thoughts, right? I would think.
It's like you're a new hire at a company and you've been there for 2 weeks and they're like, all right, pal, you're going to go into this sales meeting and
Your
you need to
second
pitch.
time wearing the Block M in front of a national audience. What about your boss? How'd those conversations go?
It's going to make for some riveting television and riveting sound bites that I'm sure will air on these airwaves. Very, very, very funny that Whittingham is being put in this position to me.
You know, with all of these coaches that go, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 18 teams in your Big Ten. You get some that'll filibuster, like on Wednesday when tight T-shirt PJ Fleck goes up there for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Like, you get 30 to 40 minutes. Is he going to take up all of that just espousing how Minnesota's been doing? You're like, all right, I'm changing that channel.
Are they still rowing the boat there, by the way? Or do they have a
Sky
new...
Uma.
Okay.
They've got oars and everything ready to go, and he'll do that same song and dance next week. I think Ryan Day's done a really good job of just a couple minutes and then taking questions. You know, Kurt Cignetti, I think, will be an entertaining listen. Probably a statement. You know, Indiana football is the defending national champions. They've never been in this position. Cignetti and the Hoosiers go on Thursday. This past week at Big Ten Media Days, you had, or SEC Media Days, you had Lane Kiffin, first appearance as head coach at LSU. I got this from Brett McMurphy and records for opening statements to the media. Back in 2022, Mike Leach with Mississippi State spoke 5 words. And I think one of those was, all right, questions. And this year, Lane Kiffin, 2,807 words. A lot of it filibustering, but he did answer some questions. Like he talked about his Ole Miss exit, saying he regrets how that went. It's like, well, Lane, everybody told you not to do what you did. Everybody told you how that exit was done so poorly.
He's Lane Kiffin. He just can't help himself.
No, he can't. And that's Lane Kiffin. Right? Everybody thought, oh, hot yoga, reconciling with the mother of his children. This is a new Lane Kiffin. No, this Lane Kiffin just lost a bunch of weight.
He's off social media, though. Did you see that? Lane's off social media.
Can you just not be on social media? Do you have to tell us you're not doing social media? Or is that the thing? If I'm getting off social media, I got to tell you I'm not on social media.
You think, how many other coaches in college football are on social media, do you think?
If there are, 132 FBS programs?
It's got to be like under 50% are on social media, right?
Probably. I would say
these guys have no time to do anything.
That have a presence that is run by somebody else.
Right.
For Lane, he just can't help himself in so many situations. He was asked about the records. Now the SEC is bringing on a 9th conference game. And, with a team like Texas that was left out of the college football playoff last year, they think it's so egregious how Texas was treated, and they think it's so egregious that an SEC team playing the kind of schedule that they do could be left out if they lose 3 conference games. And this from Lane Kiffin about their scheduling that's so difficult that how could an SEC team with just 3 losses be excluded from your playoff?
I just think that it's going to cause issues that we've already seen until we can get to a world where people can actually look at teams and say, that team that is 9-3 with their schedule is a better team than that 11-1 in a different conference, which now I think we aren't even close to doing that. I think it causes a problem.
Yeah, it's poopy in your diaper, SEC. I want teams to be ambitious with their scheduling. I also say win your games. Texas, don't lose to 4-8 Florida. Don't get bulldozed by Georgia. Don't have to go into overtime against Kentucky and then against, I think it was Mississippi State in back-to-back weeks. Win your football games. The playoffs now have expanded, making it easier for you to make a college football playoff with an oopsie-daisy here or there. Alabama, I think, lost 3 games, made the college football playoff. So the SEC's never not gotten the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion.
No, they haven't. And the thing here is, it's almost like a magic trick with the SEC, because I think you look at the SEC, like I'm looking at the SEC standings from 2025, and there is name recognition in the conference up and down the list here when it comes to their standings. Arkansas was 0-8 in conference play last year and finished 2-10. South Carolina 1-7. They finished 4-8 overall. Mississippi State 1-7 in conference, 5-8 overall. Auburn 1-7 in conference, 5-7 overall. Florida, 2-6 in conference, 4-8 overall, so on and so forth. It keeps going like that. And I think in your mind, in the back of your mind, you're like, wait, that team was a top 25 team a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they're bad now. They're not good. And it's not any different than the Big Ten. Purdue 0-9 in Big Ten conference play last year, 2-10 overall. Michigan State 1-8, 4-8 overall. Maryland 1-8, 4-8 overall. What's the difference there? There's no difference.
The difference is Maryland and Purdue were never really all that good, and thus we don't get the benefit of the doubt on it.
But that's what I'm saying.
Florida
it's a magic
was
trick.
at one point good.
It's a magic
trick. So they must still be good.
And now that we can watch all of these games, Dylan, yeah, we can see, but Florida's bad.
It's an illusion.
We can see that Texas was not great.
It's the idea I was bringing up yesterday. It's like Neyland Stadium is always like, it's one of the hardest places in the country to play. Then why do they lose always?
Right.
Why if it's that hard to play at?
It looks cool when there's a big game there. It looks cool.
People are allowed.
Yeah, I would have never thought it was a tough
The
place to
atmospheres
play.
are incredible, but for the last 3 years, you haven't won anything. You've been absent from the national championship.
For like the last 25 years, they were absent.
And even when they were, it just means more SEC. It was Nick Saban, it was Georgia, and it was a handful of LSUs.
Nick Saban saying the champion, just having the champion doesn't make you the best conference. Nick Saban saying that is the most laughable quote I've ever heard.
So there's two Nick Sabans now. He's in his second life where he's media member Nick Saban. He also said something this past week as media member Nick Saban that Coach Nick Saban might have strangled him over. We'll discuss the Tuscaloosa for next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
Ma, the meatloaf!
The Fan.
Every summer morning is different. Luckily, Tim Hortons has a breakfast wrap for every morning. Kick off your summer with the bold new steak and egg wrap. Start your morning fresh with the egg white and Swiss wrap. Or keep it classic with the grilled breakfast wrap. No matter what summer mood you're in, you can always find a wrap at Tim Hortons. Your morning happy place.
Big celebrations call for even bigger savings. Diamonds Direct is celebrating 30 years of sharing life's biggest moments with you with up to 30% off select styles, with 15% off virtually everything else in the showroom. The Diamonds Direct anniversary sale is only through July 26th, and we don't want you to miss it. Whether you've been waiting for the right moment or you just found your reason, this is it. Come find yours before the sale ends. Visit diamondsdirect.com or find a store near you.
Get Eco.
ECO. I'm Aaron Gaynor for Eco Plumbers, Electricians, and HVAC Technicians.
And I'm Jerry.
At Eco, if you call us to repair your air conditioner and then decide to replace it a few years later, we'll give you back the money you paid us to repair it, up to $1,500.
Wait, we're giving money back now?
It's like a few extra years from your air conditioner. On us.
Get Eco.
ECO.
So, Aaron, I'm no businessman.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I invented the MP1 and the MP2, and you know how far those got me.
I know.
But how can we give people back the money they paid to repair their AC when they replace it with us later?
I put the money in a piggy bank.
A real piggy bank?
Get Eco.
ECO. Okay, it's a bank.
That makes sense.
I mean, it is $1,500.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco Plumbers, Electricians, and HVAC Technicians. Visit geteco.com.
One bite in, you'll be saying, that's hot as fire. Speedway's new Hot as Fire chicken sandwich turns up the temp. Eat the heat for $4.99 only at Speedway. Valid through 8/25/26. Participating stores. Exclude Speedy Cafe. See app for full terms.
Bring bold flavor to every cookout with Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Cash, moolah, greenbacks dough, Skrilla chips, bread and mo. 2, 5, 10, and 20. 30 big ones, games aplenty. Cheddar, butter, loot and scratch. Find the letters, make the match, cause there's many words for cash, no doubt, many ways to play Cash Word. Check 'em out. Cash Word from Ohio Lottery. It's game time, yo. cash word. It's fun to go with millions in prizes, don't you know?
Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
What can ADP do for small business? We help answer the business questions, like how do you track employee time? How do you do payroll taxes? Or what does compliance even mean? So small businesses can focus on bigger questions. Now florists can ask, can we invent another holiday to sell bouquets? Pizza shops can ask, how do we stuff a calzone into a pizza crust? And pool cleaners can ask, what is that thing in the filter? These are the questions you can focus on when ADP takes care of the business of your small business. ADP for small business.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
This summer, there are 250 reasons to join T-Mobile.
Girls trip? Booked. And switching to T-Mobile helped make it happen.
With Experience Beyond, switch and get $100 back. Plus, $650 in value in built-in plan benefits. That's $750 in your first year, guaranteed.
And honestly, that $100 back, I'm putting it towards the zip line.
Now that's how you do summer.
Exactly. Best switch I ever made.
This is just one reason to join T-Mobile this summer. There are 250 reasons. Find yours.
Savings based on the value of benefits included with Experience Beyond, like entertainment and 1 year of AAA Classic and Dash Pass on us. Benefits may require activation. See plan for details. Get $100 via virtual prepaid MasterCard with eligible ported, no cash access, and expires in 6 months. Issued by Sunrise Banks and a member FDIC and allow 8 weeks.
Buckeye Replay this summer takes you back to some of the greatest comebacks in Ohio State football history.
We go 85 yards through the heart of the South. Ohio State versus Alabama in the Sugar Bowl.
Hear Buckeye Replay this Saturday at 1 p.m. on The Fan.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
What a good time to play Ohio State and Alabama from the 2015 Sugar Bowl. That'll be your Buckeye Replay coming up at 1 o'clock. Alabama's head coach, Nick Saban, is now an ESPN college football talking head. He's one of the more prominent ones. I think he's done a great job. I love hearing from Nick Saban because I think he's entertaining as hell.
It's funny, too, because there are so many guys like that are in media now, whether it's Wayne Gretzky doing hockey for TNT or, Michael Jordan, I know, was featured a little bit on basketball coverage last year. Debatable on how he was featured, of course. But
they had Michael Jordan talking about the game.
You still have Shaq and Charles Barkley all the time. But there are guys that were very successful in their sport that are now broadcasting, which is, I think, a newer thing. Tom Brady, obviously, with Fox. But Saban is very, very good at it, where some of these other guys aren't great at it. Yeah. But it's very good and very interesting to hear from these guys that were at the top of their sport and kind of their breakdowns are different than any other breakdown you can get from any other expert. The guys that were the best.
The way Nick Saban can talk about X's and O's, but can also talk about stories with coaches, but can also talk about recruiting, can also talk about player. Like watching him on the NFL draft coverage was great because he gave you a sense of some of these players that he recruited, some of these players that he scouted, some of these players that he coached. It's all been really great for him. And at SEC Media Days this week, he was peacocking because if you're anywhere in the South and there's Nick Saban, like he's one of the more polarizing figures north and south of the Mason-Dixon line. That's why, I think it's such a tough job for Kalen DeBoer because Nick Saban's ever present. The guy who you're replacing is never going away.
Right.
Like he's going to be there on TV talking about you, talking about your product. He's going to be on the same desk with you at times, talking about you and your job. He's going to be in your building because he's got an office there. He's got a statue out front of the place you play. You play on the Nick Saban field. Like, it's insane. And I do feel that, Kalen DeBoer's done a really good job with all the things considered. That's the toughest ask in sport. Hey, follow up the greatest, also while the greatest is not going anywhere. So Saban had said at SEC Football Media Days this week, quote, I actually think we should play 12 games against the Power 5. That's it, because it's a business and people want to see those games, end quote. If media Nick Saban goes in a time machine and says that to coach Nick Saban, media Nick Saban doesn't return. And they find his body somewhere. And they go, wait a minute, we have 2 Nick Sabans? Because this is insane to think from a coaching standpoint. They would have to schedule 12 P5 games, then do your conference championship game, then the college football playoff.
Well, based off of what we just heard from Lane Kiffin in the last segment, imagine if you told him that. Like, hey, you're playing 12 Power 5 games this season, brother.
I was just about to ask you, what do you think coaches that are hearing this week are saying to him with everything else that they've got to say about scheduling?
I like that he said it, though, because it's a for the fans, it would be incredible, right? Like, a fan perspective, 12 Power 5 conference games would be unreal. It would be awesome to watch. It would be great football. It would be meaningful every single week. That's, who knows, maybe that is the future of college football. It's going to take a long, long way to get there. But coaches right now, I mean, I think if you were to go across college football, not just in the SEC, if you had to do that, if you were a college football coach, I mean, it would be the NFL at that point, wouldn't it? Close to it.
I hated what Indiana did last season with their weak scheduling. I hate what Penn State's doing and being unrivaled. I appreciate Ohio State, and I think this is more so how the chips are falling for the Buckeyes in terms of Big Ten schedules, where you've got that conference. The slate for the Buckeyes is going to be incredible this fall, incredibly difficult, but you're also keeping Texas. And I think that the talk has died down certainly about the SEC moving off of their tough non-cons. So you've got home and homes against Alabama, home and homes against Georgia for the Buckeyes, in the next 5 seasons, and I'm thrilled that that's still going to be the case. As an OU Bobcat, I want to see the Bobcats in Columbus playing those kinds of games, but they don't do really anything. Not for, a network television standpoint, and that's what Tony Petitti is. That's more and more what Grank Sankey is. These are guys trying to make content and inventory that you hear that I hate using those words because I want college football games.
Yeah.
But I understand from that standpoint of where now you're just trying to make the marquee matchups, the most marquee matchups that you can. But for Ryan Day, it's give me the tough conference slate, give me 1 or 2 in the Power 5, but I've also got to get some MAC in there. I've also got to get – I don't want them to do too much MAC, because too much MAC is a bad thing, at least for Ohio State's standpoint. So I think a perfect schedule to me would be your 9 conference games, a 1 Texas-like game against a legit national championship contender, 1 game in a MAC-type position, but maybe try to throw in a Louisville or a Kentucky. I don't see the problem, or a Pittsburgh, right? Because I think that keeps you competitive, but that also gives you marquee matchups that I think that TV would want.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think it's a good idea. And I'm with you. Like, I think a whole other conversation could be had about the regionality of college football and going back to the way it was.
There's no going back.
Tradition, et cetera. But I like the MAC thing. Like, I'm with you. I think it's important to have that. I like the MAC thing. And it doesn't have to be OU every year. There are other schools in
Eddie
Ohio
George
that make
coach
it
at
fun.
Bowling Green.
Right.
I thought as soon as they hired him, it should be a phone call. Like, where can we get you every other year?
And I know
get you in Columbus.
I know they've talked about, in college basketball, how you have the Big Ten ACC challenge or a Big Ten SEC challenge, et cetera, et cetera. Doing something like that in college football could be fun, and it makes sense. The way you were talking about content, ratings, inventory. It's all a big TV show, right? They want the ratings. I think we are probably headed in that direction, but again, we're going to hear at Big Ten Media Days like where we are, I think, in reality, because the middle ground is probably somewhere between where the Big Ten's going to come in and where the SEC came in last week, guns blazing.
And the thing with the middle ground is it doesn't make you any money.
Yeah.
And that's the ask of all of these. And I hate that we're moving towards that, because I just have such a fondness for college football Saturdays and, going to being able to go to games at Ohio Stadium and not pricing fans out of the experience and not pricing fans from taking their family to Big Ten games. And, it feels like that's what increasingly is doing. That's because it's increasing and needs to be done from the school standpoint. And with the talk from the SEC about scheduling and a path forward for them to schedule and make the college football playoff, and how they're doing it at a 10 or an 11 if you're cranking up the volume for there. Where does the Big Ten and their coaches fall into that? Where with Kirby Smart, I think, too, and how he's been at Greg Sankey's throat on national television. Like, the Big Ten will never do that. Like, Ryan Day will never, ever go at the Big Ten. They're always going to kumbaya in the right direction. They've got the power and the momentum right now. Would it be so bad to use it? Would it be so bad for them to big stick the SEC, to big stick the rest of college football, to put themselves, as they're in the pole position, to be a little chesty with it next week?
I know we're coming up against it and we need to take a break, and maybe we can even talk about this in the next segment. But I want to ask you, because you're talking about momentum and swinging a big stick here is the Big Ten. I know Ohio State and Michigan, they're the biggest brands in the conference. And, of course, you've added Oregon, right? You've added USC. These are important brands for the conference. But does the Big Ten have as much power? Do they have as much negotiating power? Do they have as much momentum without the rise of Indiana? Like, what do you think Indiana realistically means to the Big Ten? Because they have such a massive alumni base, and now they are so good.
We'll have a Hoosier conversation coming up next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
It's time for sun and savings at Great Lakes Hyundai. Right now, get a new 26 Elantra SE for $59 per month for a 2-year lease. Just $59 a month for the drive into summer sale. This month only. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with owner assurance and America's best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With approved credit $39.95 down. Plus tax, title, first month's payment. 7,500 miles per year. Ends 8/3.
Hey, it's Timmy Hall for Central Ohio's most trusted orthopedic practice, Orthopedic One. Couple years ago, I felt like I was breezing through life. I was tearing through rounds of golf, and it hit me. Excruciating hip pain. Hip that would not go away until I saw my friends at Orthopedic One. Then, bye-bye pain. So if you're dealing with constant pain or you suffered an injury, start with the specialist. Start at orthopedic1.com. There's no referral required, and there's several convenient locations in Central Ohio. Schedule your appointment at orthopedic1.com.
Something big has just dropped at Hothead Burritos. Introducing barbecue pork carnitas. Juicy, mouth-watering pork carnitas. Our limited-time new citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Savor the summer flavor. Hothead Burritos. Get up and get you some.
For over 30 years, Newman Roofing has earned the trust of homeowners by putting customers first and giving back to the communities we serve. From roofing and siding to gutters, every project gets the white glove treatment. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is $600 million. But who's counting? Everybody. That's who. Get tickets today for your chance at $600 million before the next Powerball jackpot hits. If scratching is more your style, check out the new $50 Millionaire Blowout Scratch-Off for a shot at $1 million instantly. Or pick up any Ohio Lottery Scratch-Off to put a little play in your day. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Common Man and Timmy. Voted America's dumbest show by Marconi voters. Common Man is a Columbus radio legend. And by legend, I mean it's a miracle he hasn't been fired yet. And Timmy is, well, Timmy will complain about anything and everything. And he kind of looks like a woman. Giggity, giggity, giggity. So there's that. Common Man and Timmy.
Sponsored by Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Your child's oral health milestones matter. By age 1, see a pediatric dentist to establish good oral health habits. At 7, see an orthodontist to check your child's bite, teeth, and jaws. Around 15, visit an oral and maxillofacial surgeon to have your child's wisdom teeth examined. Remember, milestones met, healthy teeth set. Visit milestonesmet.org.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
I'm Nate Putterball with your sports update. The Cleveland Guardians were in Tampa Bay last night to take on the Rays, and they got roughed up 11-3. They remain a game and a half back in the AL Central. They try to get back on track this evening with Tanner Bybee on the mound taking on Nick Martinez. First pitch is at 6:10. Eugenio Suarez hit a 2-run homer to help lead the Cincinnati Reds past the St. Louis Cardinals last night 4-2. Game 2 of that series comes your way tonight at 7:15 with Hunter Green of the Redlegs taking on Andre Palat. Catch all the action right here on The Fan. Hell is Real returns to Scott's Miracle Grow Field tonight as Columbus Crew SC takes on FC Cincinnati. Kickoff is at 7:15. In NFL news, Kansas City Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes has been cleared for full activity in training camp. And, of course, the big NBA news of the week, Lebron Watch has ended, announcing yesterday he signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the 76ers. Bringing sports news weapons to The Fan, Ohio Sports Destination.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. It's a gorgeous day in the capital city. Eric Rieser, Dylan Tyrer, you heard Nate there in the update. We can all go home now. LeBron Watch has ended. So everybody can, go back to about whatever it was you were doing.
Brian Windhorst can stop following LeBron around.
Not thinking about the NBA until October. Or certainly for Cavs fans, stick your head in the sand because the next bit of news that's going to come out of Cleveland is we've agreed to an extension with James Harden. And I want to scream.
It's Brown season. Don't worry about the Cavs. Don't worry about the Cavs. Worry about the Browns.
Nate, you talked about the update. The Guardians are 0-3 now with Jose Ramirez back in the lineup. So that's fun. But it's the AL Central, so you can still be a game and a half back even if you've lost your last 3 with J-Ram. They were 15-15 without him over the 30-game stretch. And that's exactly what I said because it's the AL Central, and they're all bad teams. You just tread water. So I still think as good as the White Sox have been, as surprisingly good as the White Sox have been, as young as the White Sox are, and as there should be some hope, I guess, they're still going to fall apart in August. That I know.
Don't tell me that.
It's either Detroit or it's Minnesota or it's Chicago. And you're going to have the Guardians right there as AL Central. I've no doubt in my mind, and then they'll probably just get waxed in the wild card round. But such is life. And yes, Nate, the Browns. Dylan, the Browns have begun training camp. Bengals rookies report today. Tuesdays when both squads are going to be going with the full contingent of their players. Just as hard as I can, knocking on wood, thinking that this could be the last training camp I got to deal with Deshaun Watson as a Browns fan. 2 weeks from today, you'll be able to join us out at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for your first look at the 2026 Buckeyes. Join us August 6th through the 8th. At the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for Ohio State football training camp presented by Safelight and Bob's Discount Furniture. You can watch practice live, get autographs, take photos with select players, and experience the start of a new season up close. Tickets are limited and going fast. Just $48 for general admission or upgrade to VIP for shaded seating, refreshments, and more. Secure your spot today at ohiostatebuckeyes.com. Don't miss your chance to be a part of Buckeye Nation's kickoff to 2026. Yeah, we will be out there live the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, this Saturday spectacular from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. If you're going out, come stop by, say hi. You don't need to ask me for an autograph. It's not something that you can resell, or maybe it might not have any value unless you're my mom and can stick the picture up on the fridge.
What is that like for you guys, by the way, to be out there during Ohio State camp?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's football, right? It's something that we all love.
Must be fun.
And they do. Sorry. Well, Nate'll be here. He'll be on.
He'll be here.
He'll be here. It's actual football that you get to put your eyeballs on, and I think what Ryan Day and company have done so well is make it entertaining. Mm-hmm. Like it's an entertaining. Like last year, they just brought out zebras and scrimmaged. They didn't tell anybody it was going to happen. But Saturday, midway through the show, Dane Sanzenbacher and I were like, "Those are refs. That's a chain gang. They're popping pads. Don't touch the quarterback." But it was incredible. Such a great experience, especially if you've been to an NFL training camp. It's copy and paste.
Yeah. Are you able to glean it? Like, I know you guys are on the air, but are you able to glean anything about how the program is run?
Yeah. There's a lot you can learn from how there's not a wasted minute, not a wasted movement. Everything's choreographed so well from that squad. And yeah, never, ever take for granted being able to see Jeremiah Smith in person. Julian saying you could see it even years back, how good he was going to be, how much fun they have out there. And when we're lucky enough to talk to some of the players, I remember I asked Donovan Jackson what he knew about Akron. He didn't know anything understandably about the Akron Zips, but when you had last season, all eyes were on Texas. It was an incredible buildup to an Ohio State-Texas game, and to be able to talk to those guys out there with actual football happening, yeah, give me all day long. 29, 20, 30, the academic year, or the academic year. Once that's over, it'll be a new age for media rights. That's when the Big Ten $7 billion deal runs, and they'll probably be renegotiating that soon if they haven't started already. The Indiana Hoosiers are going to factor into more money for the conference because of how successful they've been with Curt Cignetti, the defending national champions. And Dylan, you had asked the question going into the break about just what kind of leverage now the Big Ten has with Indiana of all teams. It's an incredible thing to think about, and still not something I can fully process because they're Indiana, man. But now they are as dominant and as legit of a figure in the sport, and they're also going to help carry some of the Big Noon burden from Ohio State so long as they're able to stay relevant in winning football games.
How much does Tony Petitti love Curt Cignetti? Like, he has to love.
I mean, I don't know how many kids Petitti has. I'm assuming it goes Tony loves his wife, Tony loves his mother, and then Tony loves Curt. And then it's his kids.
Curt Cignetti's changed everything in the conference.
He's changed everything in the sport, Dylan.
Ohio State's always going to have the staying power in the Big Ten Conference. Michigan always going to have the staying power in the Big Ten Conference. Penn State, maybe. I don't know. We'll see where they go. But you understand what I'm saying. Like, this conference, it has staying power because of these legacy brands, these blue bloods. And are we watching a blue blood be created? Like, do we think Indiana has the staying power?
We know that Curt Cignetti is a great football coach. We know that to play in this sandbox, you have to have the money. You have to pay to play. That's what this is.
And they do it.
And Mark Cuban's got the money. Mark Cuban's got the enthusiasm. There's no reason to think that they won't be. The next 10 years in the discussion with the Ohio States. I'm hoping for Michigan and Penn State. Like, I hope that they would be one of those two. They were going to be the teams that were going to help lift the Big Noon burden, and they were going to be the team that now Indiana finds themselves. But Michigan's got the money. They just chose poorly with their coach after the Jim Harbaugh experience. But Sharon Moore was always going to be the fall guy there. So I think once they're able to dust themselves off from the Ward Manuel era, yeah, I think you put Michigan back into that conversation, at least, again, for the Big Noon. I hope so. When I talk in the last segment about the Big Ten swinging the big stick, I hope Ohio State's able to do that when these media rights conversations come back up. Again, the $7 billion agreement with Fox, CBS, and NBC runs through the 29-30 academic year. And so whenever that renegotiation starts, I would hope that Ross Bjork is up front with what Ohio State means. And I would think, similarly, the folks at Indiana go, what about us?
Yeah, it's almost like the dirty little secret because Ohio State is, of course, going to be there. So many eyeballs are on the Buckeyes always. But Indiana, they have the largest living alumni base in the United States.
That's still wild.
800,000 people.
Yeah.
Like close to 1 million people. Like, they're going to swing. You're talking about the Big Ten swinging a big stick. Indiana's going to have all the right to do exactly the same thing.
Cignetti himself will swing the stick.
Yeah. Seriously, he's not afraid. He's proven that.
Yeah, I don't see schedules for when coaches talk next week, but Indiana's the Thursday contingent. I'm excited to see what he has to say about this.
Thursday is going to be a banger because you're going to get Kyle Whittingham and you're going to get Curt Cignetti.
Good luck to everyone going out to media days on Thursday, by the way. Literally across the street from Lollapalooza taking place.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Oof, enjoy that.
Good luck with that one, buddies.
That's going to be
And
busy.
I was thrilled that the Big Ten was going back to Chicago. Like, I think if you're not going to do it at Lucas Oil, you do it there because Las Vegas never made any sense. Tampa doesn't make any sense for the SEC. Like, go to traditional footprints, guys. Are you, Nate, going out to Lolla?
No, not this year. I'm going out to Chicago for a festival in September.
Were you, both of you, considering a trip
I was
to
there
Indianapolis?
Wednesday.
What were you doing there?
I saw Rush at the United Center.
And?
It was the show of the year.
Dang.
Awesome.
An incredible show, yes.
Did you saw AC/DC the week prior?
I saw AC/DC the week prior. I saw Bruce a couple of months, like back in May.
So your summer's been pretty electric.
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Along with seeing the Odyssey. Did you get a chance?
I did get to see the Odyssey last Sunday. Dylan would suck.
What'd you see it in what format?
I went and saw it in IMAX digital. Okay. Yeah. I want to see it in the 70 millimeter now, but, Indianapolis is a little bit of a drive.
Maybe you and I can caravan because
Yeah,
I saw it for the second time last night, and I would certainly see it for a third time. It's a 3-hour long movie.
It is a 3-hour-long movie.
It felt like it was about an hour and a half the first time I saw it, and I went and saw it again, and it felt exactly the same. Didn't drag.
I didn't feel it drag at all during it. And I've felt some of those ones drag. But yeah, it is the loudest movie experience I've ever had.
I told you, right?
Yes, you did.
How about I told you you're going to hear one of the most disturbing sounds in your life.
just for a non-spoiler way to say it, when they're at sea and it's storming, you feel it in your chest.
So I went with my wife last night, and she's kind of like an anxious person and, really feels things. And during that scene, she had her head tucked and was like, because there's lightning flashing as well. So I guess if you have seizures and stuff, that might be a bad scene for you with the noise and the flashing and all that. But she was feeling it during that scene. Let's just say that.
I have no idea how to pull this back on track. We're going to have Aaron Portzline on at 11:30 this morning as the Jackets avoided arbitration with two of their RFAs, Cole Sillinger, 3-year, 13.
Don Waddell has guided the Blue Jackets boat through the storm. There you go.
They have returned them safely to Columbus. Cole Sillinger getting the deal done yesterday, or at least the deal was announced. The news came out yesterday. The Jackets made it official this morning. Jet Greaves also 5 years, $15 million earlier in the week. So neither sides have to go in front of an arbitrator. Now what really remains for the Blue Jackets is Adam Fantilli, who looms larger now with the contracts that have been given. And when Porty comes on, I am going to ask, are the Jackets prepared to make Adam Fantilli a top 5 earner in the league? Porty says that Fantilli is vacationing in Italy. Talks are on temporary hold, but there has been progresses from Porty. The two sides will connect early next week. So, Dylan, I present this to you before we have Porty on here in about 20 minutes. Will a deal get done with the Jackets and Fantilli before they head to training camp?
Yeah, I would think. I mean, my gut tells me, and we'll talk to Porty about it. Sure. I think he thinks that things are close right now, and I would imagine they are. Right, like you can see the business getting done. Jet Greaves gets done. Cole Sillinger gets done in short order, and everybody's excited about that. The Blue Jackets players are, posting the different videos and stuff on Instagram. They're excited that these guys are signing, and Fantilli's right there with them. So I think you're going to see it get done, and I think it has to get done because another thing that I want to talk about with Portzline is I think Don Waddell has said that he still sees things out there for the Blue Jackets, like he might want to make another move. So to make something happen, you're going to need Adam Fantilli in place. Yes. And there's obvious motivation to get Fantilli done now that Leo Carlson's been done, Connor Bedard has been done, his contemporaries, his peers from the 2023 NHL draft. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think we're probably going to see it get done in the next couple weeks.
With the moves that have been made, with the moves that look to be made for bringing Jackets from last year's roster back this season, bring them back, keep them kind of happy, at least for now, it's still, in my opinion, not enough. If you're looking to just stop running your head into the 8 spot. If you're actually looking to make a push for a playoff spot and not sit there in March and in April go, well, we play the Islanders 16 times, so maybe there's a chance you win one of those two and you don't have the kind of collapse that they had last season. So Aaron Portzline coming up at 11:30, but with the Blue Jackets, you'll hear them, of course, right here on The Fan this upcoming season. How you view them in 2026 and 2027 might be a little different. We'll discuss that next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's likely you've made peace with the congestion that greets you every morning. The snoring your partner stopped mentioning. It feels unfixable, but it isn't. For most, it's a nasal breathing problem that's treatable for good.
I'm Dr. Kandula, founder of Advent. Advent can deliver long-term results in about 20 minutes with simple in-office procedures. We diagnose and treat the root cause of nasal congestion, sinus pressure, sleep apnea, snoring, and allergies. 96% of patients with severe nasal breathing issues report improvement, and most major insurance plans are accepted.
Wake up and smell the life you've been missing. The family picnic, the run by the lake. the fresh cut grass. Breathe deep, sleep through the night, and step into every day sharper and more present. It's time for a new beginning. It's the advent of your best life.
Whoa, what's all this? These screens, the food?
All for the game, bro.
Dude, let us pitch in.
No need. I've got it all covered. With T-Mobile, I'm saving $1,000 bundling my wireless and internet.
No way. Really?
Yep, and the price of my plan won't change for 5 years.
Wow, I'm definitely switching to T-Mobile.
Goal!
Here to score big with T-Mobile. Families save up to $1,000 a year when they bundle fast, easy to set up, all-in 5G home internet with 4 phone lines on Experience Beyond. And your plan price? Guaranteed for 5 years. Stay connected con tu gente and catch every match with T-Mobile. Join now at T-Mobile.com. Price guarantee on top text and 5G data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Savings based on third line free via monthly bill credits. Internet discount with $15 in monthly bill credits and auto-pay discount. Qualifying credit required. Credits may take up to 2 bill cycles and will stop if you cancel any lines or change plans.
What defines Ohio? A place that dares to go first and never looks back. There's no slowing us down. In Ohio, we're powering America. Discovering breakthroughs, driving the future, propelling tomorrow. At Jobs Ohio, our mission is clear. Strengthen job opportunities and empower Ohio's workforce. Ohio, our time is now. See Ohio's momentum at jobsohio.com/Ohio's time.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Bring bold flavor to every cookout with Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
It's time for sun and savings at Great Lakes Hyundai. Right now, get a new 26 Elantra SE for $59 per month for a 2-year lease. Just $59 a month for the drive into summer sale. This month only. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with owner assurance and America's best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With approved credit $39.95 down plus tax title first month's payment. 7,500 miles per year ends 8/3.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
Something big has just dropped at Hothead Burritos. Introducing barbecue pork carnitas. Juicy, mouth-watering pork carnitas. Unlimited time new citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Savor the summer flavor. Hothead Burritos. Get up and get you some.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is $600 million. But who's counting? Everybody. That's who. Get tickets today for your chance at $600 million before the next Powerball jackpot hits. If scratching is more your style, check out the new $50 Millionaire Blowout Scratch-Off for a shot at $1 million instantly. Or pick up any Ohio Lottery Scratch-Off to put a little play in your day. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Join our degenerate gamblers Steve Biddle and Scotty Vegas every Sunday morning at 9 for On the Money.
Presented by Krieger Ford, your best bet for a new car or truck. Visit Krieger Ford on Morse Road today or go online at KriegerFord.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Saturday, and what a beautiful Saturday it is outside today. Right around average for your July day at this time of year. Highs right around 84 degrees, light breeze throughout the afternoon to help get you through it. You have a chance of seeing a drizzle or two later this afternoon. Really not a big rainmaker by any means, though. So you should be good on your Saturday plans outside. I'm your 10 Weather Impact meteorologist, Lily Aldridge, with 97.1 The Fan.
Week 9 was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Maybe slightly nursing a hangover. You heard Big Voice Guy there in the commercial break talk about the boys on the money. Dave Biddle, Scotty Vegas at 9 o'clock. Before them, more Scotty Vegas, but Ryan Baker and the Fans Call-In Show. And Baker was saying yesterday on Bishop and Friends they want to hear your LeBron takes. Do you? Or do we want to be done with this?
I'm ready to be done.
How do we feel how do the royal we feel about this LeBron thing? Because now he's a Philadelphia 76er, in case you missed the news. And it is one of those things from a information standpoint where we have to provide you the most up-to-date and accurate information. LeBron James is playing in Philadelphia. And we're walking. Because from a Cavs standpoint, that isn't good enough, what they've been doing. And that's where my focus shifts to Kobe Altman and company and saying, all right, well, your eggs were in the LeBron basket. He chose Philadelphia. Now what are you going to do? Because that wasn't good. The roster you had wasn't good enough. And if I got to see a James Harden extension, I'm going to be very, very sad. Fans of the Blue Jackets were sad with Zach Werenski, were frightened with Adam Fantilli. It looks like those situations for now have been resolved. You'll have Zach at least for this season, and Adam Fantilli will have Aaron Portzline on in 10 minutes to discuss just what the numbers, what the contract should look like in the next 30 days with the Blue Jackets, and Don Waddell making sure that Fantilli is a Columbus Blue Jacket and probably the top 5 earner in the league. Because that's what the contracts are going to that's what the contracts have dictated. That's what the numbers with what Fantilli's done dictate that he earns now. However you feel about that. For years, Dylan, I have bemoaned the RSN model and how I've watched or how I've had to watch the Columbus Blue Jackets with what it was Fox Sports Net, with Bally Total Fitness Sports Ohio and FanDuel, and even with the Cleveland Guardians and with the Cleveland Cavaliers and with the Blue Jackets. It's just become it's just been so difficult. The RSN model now has gone the way of the dodo, and I'm thrilled. I do appreciate what Major League Baseball's done with the Guardians, with the Reds, with other organizations, and made it very easy for you. If you give us some money, you can watch all of these games. I do. I give Major League Baseball $100. I get all, 162 games to the Cleveland Guardians. It feels like it could be moving in a similar spot for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who now have their television production responsibilities taken over by NHL Productions. When you heard the news earlier this week about that, did you feel that anything seismic will happen with how you watch and consume the Columbus Blue Jackets? Other than just, it's available streaming, give us some money, you can watch all the games, blackout restrictions, be damned.
No, I don't think it's anything crazy, and I think it's a model that you're seeing a lot across the NHL right now. Like, teams have been slowly rolling it out. The Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, Utah Mammoth, et cetera, et cetera. Teams for the last couple of seasons have done this, and the Blue Jackets were, of course, with FanDuel Sports Network alongside a handful of other teams that now have the NHL taking over their production. And, what that means for people listening out there, it's not necessarily like you're going to go to NHL.com or something and watch Blue Jackets games. It just means that instead of FanDuel Sports Network employing all the people that are the directors, the producers, the camera operators, the graphics operators, all of that, the NHL will now be in charge of all of that kind of stuff behind the scenes.
What I want for this is, because it was a partnership with Sinclair, I think, this past season, where you had Blue Jackets television, or you had Blue Jackets games available with your rabbit ears. All I want to be able to do now, because I think I can speak for a large portion of fans of sport out there, that all I want to do is turn on my TV, affix my rabbit ears, and get the content. Just give me the games without having to get another streamer. So I want, because the precedent's there, and I even think it's a Tegna affiliate in Indianapolis that provides NBA or WNBA games with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever over a DTV source. Like, it would be 10.3 would be how it would work. And I think Sinclair did that with Blue Jackets. And so now for the 84 games, I wonder if not this season, next season, just make them available like that. The precedent's there. I understand if you don't have them as much money made, but I think teams in the NHL, teams in Major League Baseball, teams in the NBA kind of need to rethink how they make their games available to people. At first, not making the kind of money you'd like because you need more exposure. You cannot anymore afford to have it difficult for your games to be found.
And I think you're excited about this in a way that a lot of people should be excited about this, not just for the Blue Jackets, but for, regional sports in general.
Yeah.
We're talking the NBA, we're talking Major League Baseball, we're talking the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
It's better for the fans. Like, you're going to have options now to watch the games for cheaper or in some cases no cost at all. I don't know quite what it's going to look like for the Blue Jackets, but other teams in the NHL seem to have an over-the-air streaming option with what you're talking about, the rabbit ears or a digital antenna. And then there's a streaming option where you can watch the games easily via streaming. So I don't know what it's necessarily going to look like with the NHL being in charge of the production. Do they have their own thing? In the press release, it said that all of these different teams that are using the NHL still are going to control their distribution, and all of the different teams were working on their distribution. I don't think any of the teams this past week that announced they were working with the NHL on the production side, they didn't have their distribution ready to announce yet.
Sure.
So whatever happens, I think it'll benefit the fan out there. It'll be good for Blue Jackets fans, and a lot of people will be able to watch the games.
And I understand this takes time. So it's the Blue Jackets, the Hurricanes, the Wild, and the Blues that were added this week. And the NHL says more teams could be added in the future. And I understand, with companies and with advertising revenue, you don't want to give any of that up, or you don't want to not have leverage. Or conversations can get chippy when it comes to, we've got to make money from these TV deals, and we're not looking to spend money on making the television content. That's what I think was so appealing about the RSNs coming in, giving a bunch of money, employing a lot of people, and having you just do the game, we will do everything else surrounding it. That was appealing to a lot of these teams, but they made it so restrictive for fans that it became a headache. And then there was, with companies, there was mishandling of everything. And now it feels like only the NFL, I think, can ask you to pay and can ask what it's asking. Other leagues cannot.
And even that's gotten to a crazy point where for Red Zone, you're paying $550 a year. You know what I mean?
It's nuts.
And that's crazy. They're extorting the out-of-market fans.
I want to be able to go anywhere in the country and see the Columbus Blue Jackets. I want to go anywhere in the country and watch the Cleveland Guardians. I want anywhere in the country to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think it behooves these leagues that aren't the NFL to be able to make that available. So this is good news with the Columbus Blue Jackets. A lot of good news this week for the CBJ on the ice and off the ice. I'd mentioned the WNBA, and they're doing their All-Star Weekend in Chicago. And the Caitlin Clark conversation is one we don't have a ton of time to get into, and it's also gotten weird. It continues to be weird. USA Today said that she had skipped their orange carpet on Thursday, quote, to get her hair done in her hometown of Des Moines. And then this morning, the USA Today had to come out with a clarification saying Caitlin Clark was attending an event for Caitlin Clark's foundation, which is why she missed the All-Star Weekend orange carpet. What are we doing, guys? Like, I understand if you're elective from on high, if your USA Today is Caitlin Clark content every single day, but at what cost? This is insane.
It's just a clicks thing at this point, right? Because she's, for whatever reason, become such a divisive figure in sports. Like,
saying you skip something for getting a haircut is like a really crappy thing to say about someone.
Well, remember, wasn't it Todd Monken missed the NFL coach's photo earlier this year because he got the time wrong and was getting a haircut during it, and it was kind of like a funny thing at that point. Like, if it's LeBron James and LeBron James skips the ESPYs red carpet because he's doing an event, or he's whatever excuse it is, does anybody really say anything about it? I'm not quite sure.
It's even sillier, Nate, when they have to come out with a clarification. They've got to come out with a correction. Like, is this with athletes, and with some of the best athletes we've had, the conversations just get so weird. And I always feel weird with Caitlin Clark because people aren't just able to have is she good at basketball conversation. That's the only thing with regards to Caitlin Clark with LeBron I'm interested in is the basketballness of it. But I understand the clicks and everything that comes with the off-court issues.
She's just hot right now, and people love picking at it for whatever reason.
The strangest damn thing. We've got Blue Jackets conversation that we need to have, and we're going to do it with Aaron Portzline coming up in 2 minutes. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Every summer morning is different. Luckily, Tim Hortons has a breakfast wrap for every morning. Kick off your summer with the bold new steak and egg wrap. Start your morning fresh with the egg white and Swiss wrap. Or keep it classic with the grilled breakfast wrap. No matter what summer mood you're in, you can always find a wrap at Tim Hortons. Your morning happy place.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Big celebrations call for even bigger savings. Diamonds Direct is celebrating 30 years of sharing life's biggest moments with you with up to 30% off select styles, with 15% off virtually everything else in the showroom. The Diamonds Direct anniversary sale is only through July 26th, and we don't want you to miss it. Whether you've been waiting for the right moment or you just found your reason, this is it. Come find yours before the sale ends. Visit diamondsdirect.com or find a store near you.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yes, sir. Eric Rieser, Dylan Tyrer with you until 1 o'clock today. We got now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline and bring on Aaron Portzline of The Athletic. He covers the Blue Jackets there and is the go-to if you need CBJ information that there's been a lot this offseason, Aaron, and so we thank you for giving us some time this morning. I want to start with Adam Fantilli. And are the Blue Jackets and Don Waddell really prepared to make Fantilli in the next 30 days a top 5 earner in the league?
Wow. I'd have to look at where the guys are at the top. I don't think he would be there. Dylan, my guess is, I think expected the Carlson offer sheet to draw all of those guys up, and I think it probably did a percentage, 10% or so, maybe. I think Connor Bedard's contract with Chicago was corrective in the other direction. 5 years, 15, whereas Carlson got 5 years, 18. Listen, if Carlson doesn't get the offer sheet, he's not getting 18, and I think the Bedard contract reaffirms that. My hunch is that Fantilli is probably going to land somewhere in between 13 and 14 would be my guess. So I don't know where that leaves him, but I don't think it puts him top 5 in the league. It puts him number 1 on the Blue Jackets roster, of course.
I think Don Waddell probably breathed a pretty big sigh of relief when he saw that Connor Bedard number come in, to your point. It was big for the Blue Jackets. And, Blue Jackets also did some other business this week. Goaltender Jet Greaves signed 3 years, $5 million a season. And the Blue Jackets just officially announced this morning that Cole Sillinger's contract comes in 3 years, $4.625 million a season. Porty, it took some time to get those 2 deals done. Why do you think it took some time to grind on those 2 contracts?
Yeah, good question with those 2. The Fantilli one I understood because those high-end RFAs who don't have arbitration rights are really using July 1st as leverage more now than they ever have. But listen, I think the Greaves contract was the trickier of the 2 because the numbers that Jet put up this past season, certainly top 10, top 15 goalie in the league. The argument, of course, is goalies can be unpredictable. He's only done it 1 year. So the team, I think the team wants him around for a long time. I think there were requests for term that were tricky, but I think the money was tricky and kind of hard to land on because, again, there's been some really good success, but there hasn't been a long track record there. So that was the one to me that I thought could get to arbitration, and it darn near did. they delayed the start of the hearing to get to it. The Sillinger one, to me, Sillinger is not an arbitration player. It's not that process does not benefit a player like him, where so much of what you appreciate about him are the intangibles. So not surprised that one got done. I thought Jet's salary was maybe a little lower than I expected. That's maybe an offshoot of the 5-year term. And I thought Sillinger's was maybe a little bit higher than I expected. That was the team getting term, going 1 year into Sillinger's UFA status. I think it also says, Dylan, we've talked about this too. I think everybody on this team expects Sillinger to start scoring more. Not as a demand, but just as almost an inevitability, as a guy that gets 140 shots on goal, as he did last season. He's on a line he's really comfortable with now, Coyle and Olivier. That was a really good line for Columbus under Rick Bowness last year. So I think this is a predictive contract in the sense that they expect him to grow into it offensively as well.
I would agree with you. And on both the numbers, honestly, I was a little bit surprised to see Jet Greaves come in only at 5. I thought it would be a skosh higher than that, and I thought Sillinger might be a skosh lower than 4.625. But talking about that production for Sillinger, I almost view him as a potential Boone Jenner-style replacement when it comes to that production. But, I think the Blue Jackets need more than that. And they've talked a lot about Kent Johnson and Dmitry Voronkov being more consistent, taking another step this season, and they're relying on those guys to kind of get them over the hump and replace a little bit of the production lost. Do you get the sense, though, that Don Waddell still wants to be active this offseason once he gets Fantilli done?
Well, you know what? He has said as much. And I don't know what that entails. You can build a lineup right now and say that's probably what it looks like for them. I was a little surprised with the Danton Heinen contract, too. And if I'm Luca Del Belbaluz or Jack Williams or Putia or some of those guys, the sort of the 4A guys that are trying to get out of the AHL and into the NHL, I'm looking at that going, man, what is up? Like, there's somebody else you've got to clear to get that job, especially with Isaac Lundstrom injured to start the season. I think those guys must have felt like there was a real opening there, and it still is. The better player is going to get it. Heinen's is a 2-way contract. I'm not sure where that goes. My sense is they may have $3 or $4 million left over. Is that a defenseman? They've got 7. Is that a forward? Right now they've got 14 or 15 if they think Del Belbaluz can play. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe that's a swap out. Maybe that's a trade that would add payroll. But he mentioned it unprovoked to me the other day that depending upon where this lands, they're going to be over $100 million, and the salary cap is 104. So they'll be close to it depending upon where Fantilli lands. But he did mention specifically the possibility of doing something more. So we'll see.
Aaron Portzline is our guest. He covers the Columbus Blue Jackets at The Athletic. Aaron, are we going to have a season, or I guess as we go, and the royal we, I mean, into the season, and every week you're going to see an article about best trade pieces available, and Kirill Marchenko is going to be at the top of that. Has there been any movement with him, or do you expect anything before we get into the season?
I expect no movement. I think he falls in that category of big-time RFAs who plan now to use that July 1st as part of their leverage. Why not have 32 teams at your disposal instead of just one? And, Pat Verbeek, the GM in Anaheim, Don Waddell here in Columbus and others have taken some heat. They're certainly not above it, but they've taken some heat for not getting those guys to the negotiation table and signing them. Why didn't they sign Fantilli last summer? Why didn't the Ducks sign Carlson last summer? Why didn't they sign each of those players this year before July 1st? Well, maybe you could have absolutely blown them away with an offer. But I think the fact of the matter is those guys weren't going to sign before July 1st. And now we've seen the power of that leverage. Like, the Flyers can't get to Carlson if he doesn't get to July 1st. So you never know what's out there, and you expose yourself to 32 teams. I'm a little surprised that someone hasn't come after Fantilli. I'm sure there have been discussions, He hasn't signed an offer sheet as it stands. I think every day we get deeper into summer, they become less likely. But I think Marchenko's in that same boat. I'm not sure I would want to sign. And it's not just about wanting out of a certain team or wanting to sign an offer sheet to go somewhere else. It's the fear of an offer sheet driving your offer from your team ever higher, and you cannot create that fear unless you become available. So I don't think anything happens there. Listen, July 1st next summer is going to be a big day, Dylan, because you've got Marchenko up as an RFA, the possibility of an offer sheet, and you've got Zach Werenski able to sign an extension, and that will become a story again next summer if it's not a story at the trade deadline this year.
Porty, the salary cap, $104 million, 10.4 of that going to Blue Jackets goaltenders. You know, looking around the NHL, not many teams are paying their goaltenders a combined $10 million. The Blue Jackets are doing that, and I'll say it, it's for around league average goaltending when you weigh things out between Jet Greaves and Elvis Merzlikins. Is this the tandem that's going to start the season for the CBJ?
Well, I think it is. And, you know, I mean, all that you presented there is true. The fact of the matter is not many teams have $0.4 million backup. And I'm a little surprised, frankly, that Merzlikins is still on this roster. They signed Phoenix Copley, but let's be clear. I think and I think Copley acknowledges this from my conversations with him. If everything goes as planned in training camp, he will be the guy that ends up on waivers, and if he clears, he goes to Cleveland. That's just the fact of the matter. He's got a 2-way contract. So that's the story, is their backups making 5.4, and the reason their goaltending has been average or subpar, taken as the whole, is because of Merzlikins' numbers. I mean, his save percentage is dramatically different than Jet Greaves' playing behind the same group. And so that's a spot that needs to get better. When you talk about culture change, like Rick Bowness did at the end of the season, that is one of the first spots I looked. Like, I feel like that position could stand to change. I'm a little surprised it hasn't, but here we are, not quite in August, still probably 7 weeks from training camp, 8 maybe, and that remains. So I guess things could change. At this point, it feels like the music has stopped, and most of the goalies have a chair right now, so it would have to be a trade, I would think, at this point.
Stay up to date on everything with the Columbus Blue Jackets by following Aaron Portzline and his coverage over at The Athletic. Porty, thanks so much for giving us some time this morning. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, bud.
All right, Dylan. Good to be with you, man.
And he joins us courtesy the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Good news for a former Buckeye. That's next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
When I started in the window business probably 40 years ago, as the industry grew, I started to realize that everything was wrong. So when I finally decided to start my own company, there were a number of reasons. One of those was I knew I could build a better window. I could take care of my customers. I could service them better. I could make sure that they got what they paid for.
Visit Brazzati Windows and get 35% off all windows and doors by July 31st.
Delaware County Veteran Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of Veteran County Veteran Service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veteran Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
Stay cool and save big money now at Menards. We carry a huge in-stock selection of ceiling fans that add style and elegance to any room. Find your style with Patriot Lighting ceiling fans. They also help save on energy costs year-round. Save big on all ceiling fans right now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
One bite in, you'll be saying, "That's hot as fire." Speedway's new hottest fire chicken sandwich turns up the temp with spicy breaded chicken on a brioche bun. Top it your way with pickles, a little hot sauce mayo combo, and more. It's a hot sandwich kind of summer. Don't just beat the heat, eat the heat. The new hottest fire chicken sandwich. $4.99, only at Speedway. Valid through 8/25/26. Participating stores. Exclude Speedy Cafe. Toppings and sauces sold separately. See app for full terms.
Summer doesn't start until you've had UDF peach ice cream. Made with hand-picked peaches at our dairy right here in Ohio. So have a peach sundae, a peach shake, a peachy cobbler ice cream quake, and start your summer now. Only at United Dairy Farmers. Peach season is here at UDF, but it won't last long. Right now, buy 2 large cartons of UDF peach ice cream for just $10. You're gonna want to stock up. Peach ice cream is back at United Dairy Farmers for a limited time.
McDonald's is putting value back on the menu. Whether you're craving a Big Mac, McNuggets, or sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, make it a meal and save. Your favorite is now your wallet's favorite, too. Extra value meals are back.
For a limited time, get an $8 Big Mac Extra Value Meal, complete with a medium Coke and medium fries. Promotion pricing may be lower than meal pricing. Price of participation may vary.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is $600 million. But who's counting? Everybody. That's who. Get tickets today for your chance at $600 million before the next Powerball jackpot hits. If scratching is more your style, check out the new $50 Millionaire Blowout Scratch-Off for a shot at $1 million instantly. Or pick up any Ohio Lottery Scratch-Off to put a little play in your day. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Save big money in your next painting project now at Menards. Rust-Oleum Stops Rust 5-in-1 spray paint lets you choose from 5 unique spray patterns with a twist of the dial, so you can get a professional, corrosion-resistant finish on every project. Save big money on Rust-Oleum spray paint now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This is Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. If you're driving and take a quick glance at your phone, more can happen than you might think. Because taking your eyes off the road for even just a moment is like driving the entire length of a football field blind. Don't let those few seconds distract you from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and $2 tall boys. All day, every day.
We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Our thanks to Aaron Portzline of The Athletic for his time in the last segment. I think 2 things, Dylan, with the Columbus Blue Jackets. You got to figure it out with Fantilli, and then you got to figure it out with Elvis Merzlikins. And the more discussions I have with people much more intelligent than me in this situation is buy him out. Buy him out, get him off the roster.
Yeah, I don't see that happening at this point, kind of like Porty talked about, right? Don Waddell has been hesitant to do it for years now. He's had faith that Elvis Merzlikins can refine form. And to Elvis's credit, we saw it at the start of last season. He was much better, but that faded as the year went on. Can he find the Blue Jackets something this year? I think they'll ride Jet Greaves heavily because he's proven that he can be that guy night in and night out for the Blue Jackets. You'd love a guy to be able to spell him or even create a 1B or 1A, 1B scenario. The way that you're paying Elvis, you'd hope that's the case, the 1A, 1B thing. He's making more money than Jet Greaves is, despite being his backup. I mean, if the Blue Jackets can get league average goaltending, I think they're going to be fine. Like, Jet Graves was above average last season, analytically top 10, top 15 goalie in the NHL, and Elvis was not that. That's the hope right now. Like Don Waddell is putting hope in Kent Johnson and Dmitry Voronkov to become more consistent, more impact players on a night-to-night basis. It's kind of the same thing with Elvis Merzlikins. And, I think, obviously, if you were able to deal Elvis, you would create a load of cap space for yourself to potentially do something else. Could that be in the cards? Portzline did say that Don Waddell wants to make something else happen.
Oh, they need to.
We will see.
My fear, and I asked Porty about this, was when you have the trade articles that are released every month. It feels like, and this is for all sports that do this. When with each individual deadlines, Kirill Marchenko's at the top of the list. Like, Blue Jackets should deal Kirill Marchenko, and it's like if they're in a position. Now, we talked last week, Dylan, about how the schedule for the CBJ is like you're going to know this team by Thanksgiving, maybe even before the month of November starts. Is it November? December, even before November, are you talking like, well, the Blue Jackets could trade Kirill Marchenko? It's like, I don't want to live it. I don't want to keep living in that world.
Right.
And I think the Elvis piece is huge in allowing this organization to not live in that world. Is if they're able to figure out with whatever it looks like for Elvis, you either have the money that you buy him out, or I don't think a trade's going to happen, but the idea that they can use that for players that can be productive for this roster, it just keeps it's like the ankle, it's an ankle weight, right? And you're trying to swim, and you're just not able to swim as fast because that damn albatross of a contract for Elvis. But we'll see. Porty said about 7 to 8 weeks before the Blue Jackets open training camp. The NFL's opening training camp for all 32 teams next week. Rookies for the Browns reported on Thursday. Today, the Cincinnati Bengals have their rookies reporting to Cincinnati. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler on Thursday, when the Browns reported, said that Quinshon Judkins is full go 7 months after surgery to repair a fractured fibula and a dislocated ankle. It's a violent injury that he suffered in week 16 of last year. He's only 22 and participated he was participating in their offseason program, just wasn't cleared for full contact. That was the last hurdle that he needed to clear. That has been good to go. They're going to need to rely heavily on him this season if they want to win. And the one thing with Cleveland, and it's very hard for me to have these conversations as a absolute total hater of Deshaun Watson that I am, I can't put that on Monken. It's his first year. He didn't make the deal. He's got to win with the pieces in front of him. If they're going to win football games, Quinshon Judkins is going to need to be a massive part of that Browns operation. They just don't have the other ponies ready to go like they do before Judkins got injured.
It's so hard to rely on a running back like that nowadays, though.
I think in year one, though, he's the steadiest piece they've got.
That is fair. It could change really quickly, though, because one of those wide receivers, two of those wide receivers could hit right away.
Come on, Denzel Boston.
You obviously have Harold Fannin, I think, who is really, really good. I think he's going to be great for the Browns. But I completely understand what you're saying. If they want to be a successful team, and I think being a successful team this year is not necessarily even making the playoffs. It's taking a step and feeling good about yourself going into next season. A way they're going to do that is rely on their defense and rely on that run game. Age-old adage, right?
They did a great job, I think, Andrew Barry, of improving or looking to improve the Browns' offensive line in the offseason, whether it was the draft or free agency. It's vastly different than it was last year. So on paper, you have, I think, a good attack that can give whichever quarterback they play enough confidence to just be the game manager for now.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to upset or shock the world. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you're just trying to win more than 4 football games. The bar is the low. The bar is the floor. It's so low. The run game and an offensive line will help with that. It'll be 17 games in the NFL regular season for this season and likely into next year. So 2026, 17, 2027, 17 as well, maybe whenever they get back to the negotiating table for a CBA. The 18th game, it's when, not if. But we do know because of a Super Bowl 62 date that it'll stay 17 for that season. Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium is going to host Super Bowl 62 February 13th of 2028. You're going to get SoFi Stadium with Super Bowl 61 this upcoming February 14th for that game. So, interesting to have those things on the calendar from a standpoint with the NFL, and we talked about this also. Once you hear that music, that's where everybody's focus shifts to. And even with discussion from Goodell about them trying to go to Japan. It's like, at what point are we talking 18 games, one team's guaranteed to go overseas? And I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to happen. It's when.
I'm not into the NFL international stuff either.
No,
I get it, growing the game. To me, everybody talks about the NFL reaching the point that there is going to be an international team and likely an international division. You're talking, maybe a team in Spain, a team in London, a team in Germany, all the places they've gone. Heck, they've gone to Brazil, they've gone to Mexico City, and now they want to go to Japan. Who knows what that looks like? I just don't know how that's even viable. To force these guys to live overseas. You get drafted by, the London Knights or whatever you want to call them, first overall, and you're a player at Alabama. You have to go live in the UK? I just don't see that happening.
It's the silliest damn thing.
But it's definitely on the table. It feels like it's trending in that direction, international expansion.
And I'm looking at Pro Football Talk right now, and they are reporting that the NFL and the NFL Players Association are right now in conversations. This was great from the people over there from Florio. New NFL Players Association Executive Director J.C. Treader has won the first round of the looming collective bargaining agreement fight with the NFL by doing the one thing that we are all capable of doing, absolutely nothing. Which, it's not sexy, but if the NFL is going to push the 18 games, what's their give? What's their give for the players there? And maybe that's to stay away from every team having to go overseas. Who knows what exactly the NFLPA prioritizes. But I can't see where, if you're a player, to your point, I want to go live over there. I know they did NFL Europe, and then they didn't. Why? Because it wasn't successful. And for players, I can't imagine that they want to have to do all of that in a regular season that already asks so much of their bodies.
Here's the bargaining chip. We're going to give you all grass fields if you go overseas for these games.
If I'm J.C. Treader, I think that's my first thing. Is we've seen it. The precedent's there. You had turf all over the country. On every NFL team that hosted a World Cup game, they had to put it there. Keep it there. Maybe we'll give you your 18th game. It's the NFL, and they're going to be like, well, that costs too much, despite having an owner now with $3 billion just to hand because he wants the team. We had discussed that last week about how now that there is an owner in Seattle that can cut a $2 billion check without really having to blink. We had talked about how that there are teams out there that probably look at that and aren't great with teams that can access a piggy bank and teams that cannot access a piggy bank. We have comments from one of those teams without a piggy bank, and you'll hear from the Green Bay Packers coming up next. It's Sports Saturday on The Fan.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it.
Thank you for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We make room for possibilities.
We've loaded the moving van and we're leaving a ton of stuff at our old address. Can you make it disappear?
All you have to do is point.
Can you come right now?
We're on our way.
We make space for hope.
We make space for dreams.
We make space for what matters.
We are 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Let us make room for your possibilities.
We can make your house happier.
And your future brighter.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
This summer, there are 250 reasons to join T-Mobile.
Girls trip? Booked. And switching to T-Mobile helped make it happen.
With Experience Beyond, switch and get $100 back. Plus, $650 in value in built-in plan benefits. That's $750 in your first year, guaranteed.
And honestly, that $100 back, I'm putting it towards the zip line.
Now that's how you do summer.
Exactly. Best switch I ever made.
This is just one reason to join T-Mobile this summer. There are 250 reasons. Find yours.
Savings based on the value of benefits included with Experience Beyond, like entertainment and 1 year of AAA Classic and Dash Pass on us. Benefits may require activation. See plan for details. Get $100 via virtual prepaid MasterCard with eligible port and no cash access and expires in 6 months. Issued by Sunrise Banks and a member FDIC. Allow 8 weeks.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is $600 million. But who's counting? Everybody. That's who. Get tickets today for your chance at $600 million before the next Powerball jackpot hits. If scratching is more your style, check out the new $50 Millionaire Blowout Scratch-Off for a shot at $1 million instantly. Or pick up any Ohio Lottery Scratch-Off to put a little play in your day. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Our double hung is as good as it gets. There's something really simple. It's called an interlock. We interlock our windows. The interlock is the absolute best way to alleviate air infiltration. With the interlock, it's harder to break into. When you interlock the sashes, it makes a better window. It's just a darn good window, and we're very proud of it.
Visit Rosati Windows and get 35% off all windows and doors by July 31st.
Every summer morning is different. Luckily, Tim Hortons has a breakfast wrap for every morning. Kick off your summer with the bold new steak and egg wrap. Start your morning fresh with the egg white and Swiss wrap. Or keep it classic with the grilled breakfast wrap. No matter what summer mood you're in, you can always find a wrap at Tim Hortons. Your morning happy place.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
I'm Nate Putterball with your sports update. The Cleveland Guardians were in Tampa Bay last night to take on the Rays, and they got roughed up 11-3. They remain a game and a half back in the AL Central. They try to get back on track this evening with Tanner Bybee on the mound taking on Nick Martinez. First pitch is at 6:10. Eugenio Suarez hit a 2-run homer to help lead the Cincinnati Reds past the St. Louis Cardinals last night 4-2. Game 2 of that series comes your way tonight at 7:15 with Hunter Green of the Redlegs taking on Andre Palat. Catch all the action right here on The Fan. Hell is Real returns to Scott's Miracle Grow Field tonight as Columbus Crew SC takes on FC Cincinnati. Kickoff is at 7:15. In NFL news, Kansas City Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes has been cleared for full activity in training camp. And, of course, the big NBA news of the week, Lebron Watch has ended, announcing yesterday he signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the 76ers. Bringing sports news weapons to The Fan, Ohio Sports Destination.
Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Eric Rieser, Dylan Tyrer. You heard Nate there in the update. We're with you for an hour. Not a long time, but a good time, we think. Tyler Danburg of the Ohio State Sports Network is going to join us at 12:30. Buckeyes look towards the Windy City this week for Big Ten Media Days. Ryan Day, Julian Sain, Jeremiah Smith, Jalen McClain are going to speak as part of the Wednesday edition of Big Ten Media Days. It starts on Tuesday. So get Tony Petitti up first because that's who we all want to hear from. Although I guess I'm a little bit more interested in what Petitti has to say relative to Greg Sankey and how he spent 46 minutes just complaining about the state of things last week. It's like, sir, if you want to find out the problem, look in the mirror. You're 30 years of inaction, and the NCAA is just as fault at any of this. 30 years of inaction, longer than 30 years, have put you in the position that you're in now. And you've let the genie out of the bottle with that inaction. I think the Senate has like a week to vote on the Protect College Sports Act, and then they're going on like a month recess. So this has been kind of fun, that I think about it, Dylan, of everyone in sport who doesn't really have the most familiarity with how things go in Washington, D.C. You get kind of a civics lesson, and that our best and brightest, and I'm using air quotes, that are supposed to be governing this country can't do anything there right. And so it's extra laughable when you have guys like Nick Saban and, you know, going to Capitol Hill and Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey saying we need government assistance for this. It's like they can't do anything right. So what do you think they're going to be able to do for something as complex as college athletics?
It's very funny because it's like it just makes it it makes it more relatable for everybody, right? You're like, you can't understand some of these larger concepts, global energy, that sort of thing.
GDP is lost on me.
All of that stuff that we don't know anything about. But by God, if you put college football in front of these guys, you're like, wait a second, why can't you guys get this done?
Mm-hmm. So
our radio minds can get it done.
For me, it's the simplest thing. You got to separate the haves from the have-nots. You have to bring college football and their players, the student athletes, as you like to call them, they've got to be called something else. And it's an E word that you're not very comfortable with, but that's the only way you can return any semblance of control back to this. We'll have a cut for Steve Sarkisian coming up in a couple minutes where he uses the actual damn phrase salary cap. So if you're going to be using these professional phrases, Ohio State uses training camp. and sells tickets to training camp, just like the NFL does. We just have to start being serious, and these aren't serious people that are in Washington having these discussions. Does
that mean the players' union, the college football players' union, is going to be
it's something you
stumping for grass fields at some point here?
Bargain, yeah. I mean, I've been stumping for natural grass at the shoe forever. I know there's like the water table or something like that. I know they've put in new turf this week, and the whole thing's goofy. The whole thing, and it's you can't be trying to do new things the way you've been doing things. It just doesn't work like that. Same thing with the NFL and their owners. You know, we talked last week about how the Seattle Seahawks and their new billionaire owner family could just cut through. They bought the Seahawks for $9 million. They owe $3 million up front. He just cut the check, and it's all good. And I go, Mike Brown couldn't do that. The Raiders couldn't do that. The Green Bay Packers, they're publicly owned. I wonder how much longer they can hold on to that with all of these private equity firms coming in and gobbling up shares of teams. And I give the Packers great credit. And you put it very eloquently, where the Packers forever have been publicly owned by the fans, and they've never cried poor. Bengals cry poor all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're owned by a family who has just made their money from being the Cincinnati Bengals. But with this, having an ownership group that's got that kind of money, and you see the new renderings from the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium, like $3 billion for that thing, for new Arrowhead. And I go to Cincinnati and I go, all right, what's the plan here, guys? At some point, I think they're going to have to bring on private equity. At some point, they're going to have to figure out a way to keep up with the Joneses here.
Why resist as the Cincinnati Bengals? This is something that we talk about all the time. Does it just come down to the family wants to control everything? Because it's so... Like, I get not wanting to allow private equity into something.
I completely understand.
Yeah, and they love the tradition of this, and they love the control of this, but it's the modern era. Like, you have to be able to pay guys and do things and upgrade the stadium and make it a good experience, and, of course, wins and losses over everything. Like, for crying out loud, they just sold the naming rights to their stadium to pay Joe Burrow. Like, why? Nate, you're a Bengals guy. Why is there so much hesitancy? Why is there so much resistance to all of this when it feels like other teams are doing the exact same thing?
Mike Brown and his kids just don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
It is 100% what it comes down to.
And I will give Cincinnati great credit over the past couple of years where they've paid their guys, where they've listened to Joe Burrow and they've made him a priority. But how much longer can you keep going at the current rate?
To their detriment, though, because they've paid the guys on offense and the defense has suffered, and that's where all the complaints are, right?
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? And what you have...
Hey, Mike Brown didn't pay anybody for 30 years, and this is just stepping in the right direction.
You're trying to, get wins where you can. Certainly the Cincinnati current ownership has seen that they've got a Super Bowl ready offense. They've been to the Super Bowl, and so I think doing that probably provides you some clarity. For the Green Bay Packers, they had comments this week from their CEO, Ed Policy. This was on Friday. He raised concerns about the inability of his team to sell limited shares for unlimited funds. Per the Associated Press, from Ed Policy, quote, it's like other teams have access to this ATM machine that we just don't have right now. We're going to have to be more aggressive with revenue generation going forward. We all know the cost of competing in the NFL is going up. Other teams have access to capital sources that we just don't have. It probably means a sale of the name Lambeau. You're not calling it Lambeau Field anymore. Just different things that we sit back and go, they can't do that. That sucks.
It's the Packers, so they'll keep it. It'll be like Acrisure. I know. I'm just using this because it was on the Acrisure Stadium at Lambeau Field. It'll be something like that because they're not going to get rid of Lambeau Field. They would never.
I guess their ownership group would never allow it because their ownership group's the fans.
Yeah. To that point, like with the Red Sox, they're such a legacy brand as well, but they have become a money churn over the years here. It's kind of surprising that we haven't seen, State Street Bank at Fenway Park or something like that.
Feels like it's coming soon.
Yeah.
With everything in football, it's going up. And I think the comments from Steve Sarkisian this past week when he's not whining about his team. If I'm a Texas fan and I hear my coach complaining about last season and how they were wronged by the playoff committee, despite losing to 4-8 Florida, despite getting crushed by Georgia in the regular season. They also lost week 1 to Ohio State. I want him kind of focused on this season. Like I don't need him politicking unless he's trying to stay the course of, I've got to yell at the committee constantly, so when it happens again, I can stay, well, I've been saying this for months. It's like, well, what kind of position? Just win your games, man. I do like what I heard from Sarkisian in regards to name, image, and likeness and the portal, where he talks about guys like they brought in Cam Coleman, the best receiver out of the transfer portal, because Arch Manning needed a deep threat, and how you've got to pay to play this game.
I think in this day and age of the portal and high school, you've got to have the ability to be strategic and to make the moves we make, to bring in a Cam Coleman, to bring in a Hollywood Smothers, to bring in a Raleek Brown, to bring in a Mike Masunis at tight end. Well, we had to let DeAndre Moore go. We had to let Parker Livingstone go. We had to let Trey Wisner go. We had to let CJ Baxter go. I mean, so this wasn't like we just kept acquiring. We had to let some pretty good players leave to create the cap space to bring those guys in. And I think strategically, there were some tough decisions to make, but we made them. And I think we all can agree we're probably, we're better around Arch today than we were a year ago at this time. And not only at the skill position, but I think on the offensive line as well.
So Sark was speaking on the Paul Feinbaum show there, and I appreciate the honesty and the transparency there. Because what other teams what teams aren't dealing with that sort of thing? We got to get an upgrade. We got to pay this guy. All right, what does that mean for the rest of our roster? I mean, look at Ohio State and losing Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter, because they probably thought, well, I'm a 5-star guy. I'm worth this. And they see Bo Jackson getting a raise, but Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter didn't make the field. Well, probably would not have made the field in Columbus this season. So they go off to Notre Dame, probably get a raise or probably get a little bit more in NIL, but Ohio State has to make those kinds of decisions. Well, you want a raise, we're not giving it to you. So I see if you can get better somewhere else.
Hollywood Smothers, unbelievable college football name, by the way. But to a point that you made last week, the transparency, I think, is huge. And, having conversations like Sark is having there are important. It's good for the brand at Texas football. Hey, we didn't think we were good enough last season. We went out in the transfer portal and we paid these guys, and we think we're better this season. Obviously, the results are pending. We will see. But on paper, I would agree with him. They have 2 top 10 running backs in college football.
Right.
They have one of the best wide receivers in college football now. They think they have one of the best quarterbacks in college football. They made the team better around Arch Manning, and if it works out, it's the model now, right? We were talking about Kurt Cignetti for a lot of the show in the first hour. That's their model, right? They don't care about the high school recruiting. I know they just landed their first 5-star, but it's not like Indiana cares about the high school recruiting because they're just going in the portal and getting these guys and being successful that way.
What's the argument I think is what Ohio State's having internally of, we can put a premium on these guys out of high school, but everybody else, we've got to look for guys that have done college football already, because that's where everybody else is going. I thought it was ambitious for Indiana to, in 3 seasons, go for a different quarterback each season out of the transfer portal, but they've made it work.
Well, and, Brady Edmonds' recruitment at Ohio State, I think, has been a really big thing because, he's been committed to Ohio State, and then he's entertained other offers, other pitches from schools in the Big Ten. UCLA was a big one around, which I think Edmonds is good too. No, it is good for him to do that, but it's also good for him to make a bet on himself at Ohio State. I think that's important because it doesn't matter if he doesn't play at Ohio State. He can go somewhere else, right? You saw it with, you've seen it with a bunch of different quarterbacks at Ohio State, Joe Burrow, for example. He got a little taste at Ohio State. You saw it. He went elsewhere. Mm-hmm. You've seen that year after year with the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I think that's a model that works. If you're a guy like Edmonds, you try your darndest to win the job at Ohio State. And if that doesn't work out, you can still go elsewhere and make that money in NIL. You want to go to a big school like Ohio State. You want it to work out at Ohio State. But if it doesn't, it can still work out for you. You're not dead.
And I think it's good for schools like UCLA. So if you missed the news, Brady Edmonds, he closed his recruitment this week, saying that he's going to honor his commitment to Ohio State because UCLA had been chasing him. But for schools like UCLA, it's almost like if a quarterback goes somewhere and it doesn't work out, then they they grab him, and then he becomes the quarterback that is able to lead them to the promised land. And I think so many schools have done such a good job of realizing that that's the best way to go. It's wild to see all the different ways that schools are going about building their rosters. But what it does come back to is the constant chase for cash. We'll discuss that next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. If you're driving and take a quick glance at your phone, more can happen than you might think. Because taking your eyes off the road for even just a moment is like driving the entire length of a football field blind. Don't let those few seconds distract you from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
T-Bone and Tyvis wake you up every weekday morning from 6 to 9, and I think I can sum up the show in 3 words. Football, food, and fun. Ain't that right, T-Bone?
And I get more volume per suck.
And there's only one thing that makes Tyvis happier than a free hair transplant.
All it took was legalizing the money you had to give to the players. And we are watching the demise of the SEC.
T-Bone and Tyvis, weekday morning starting at 6. And tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 The Fan.
Nothing feels better on a hot summer day than coming home to a nice air-conditioned house. If your AC is on the fritz, don't sweat it. Call the pros at the Waterworks Heating and Cooling. We service all makes and models and can provide great savings on a Lennox home comfort system that delivers that perfect feeling. The Waterworks Heating and Cooling Services. Call us at 614-232-2222 and schedule fast service today. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
Hey there, Bo Bishop here. Tired of the same old routine? It's time to escape with an RV from RCD RV. Motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, they've got them all. Shop hundreds of RVs in stock today. 3 locations in Central Ohio to serve you, or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
Summer doesn't start until you've had UDF peach ice cream. Made with hand-picked peaches at our dairy right here in Ohio. So have a peach sundae, a peach shake, a peachy cobbler ice cream quake, and start your summer now. Only at United Dairy Farmers.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
It's time for sun and savings at Great Lakes Hyundai. Right now, get a new 2060 Elantra SE for $59 per month for a 2-year lease. Just $59 a month for the drive into summer sale. This month only. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with owner assurance and America's best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With approved credit $39.95 down. Plus tax, title, first month's payment. 7,500 miles per year. Ends 8-3.
Bring bold flavor to every cookout with Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Summer is here, and there's no better time to upgrade your ride than at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're towing the boat, heading to the lake, or planning the ultimate family road trip, now's the time to save. Get $299 APR financing for up to 72 months on the 2026 Toyota Tundra, or lease the 2026 Camry LE for just $319 a month for 36 months and $399 due-it signing and 10,000 miles per year. Make this your summer adventure with the team at Germain Toyota of Columbus, conveniently located at the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or shop anytime at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota of Columbus, where summer savings are in full swing.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is $600 million. But who's counting? Everybody. That's who. Get tickets today for your chance at $600 million before the next Powerball jackpot hits. If scratching is more your style, check out the new $50 Millionaire Blowout Scratch-Off for a shot at $1 million instantly. Or pick up any Ohio Lottery Scratch-Off to put a little play in your day. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Something big has just dropped at Hothead Burritos. Introducing barbecue pork carnitas. Juicy, mouth-watering pork carnitas. Our limited-time new citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Savor the summer flavor. Hothead Burritos. Get up and get you some.
Tyvis Powell is a contradiction. He'll police the food you have on your plate and shame you into dieting. Also, he has a burner Uber Eats account so his wife doesn't know what he's eating. Timon and Tyvis.
Weekday mornings at 6.
The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Saturday, and what a beautiful Saturday it is outside today. Right around average for your July day at this time of year. Highs right around 84 degrees, light breeze throughout the afternoon to help get you through it. You have a chance of seeing a drizzle or two later this afternoon. Really not a big rainmaker by any means, though. So you should be good on your Saturday plans outside. I'm your 10 Weather Impact meteorologist, Lily Aldridge, with 97.1 The Fan.
If you've recently seen a photo of an older Baker Mayfield fresh off a bender, it's just Bo Bishop. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
So Big Ten Media Days will be next week in Chicago, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at the downtown Chicago Hilton. Nate let us know that Lollapalooza is taking place right across the street.
I've stayed in that hotel. It is right across the street from the entrance.
Dang.
Who's headlining Lollapalooza this year?
I know the Smashing Pumpkins are playing.
Charlie XCX, Lorde, Tate McRae, Olivia Dean, John Summit, Jenny, all caps. I've never heard of that person. The Smashing Pumpkins and the XX. Okay.
Okay, so for Austin Ward, who's going to be going, please just, focus on the job at hand. It's going to be a circus. You're going to have everybody in college, some of the biggest names in college football, and apparently some of the biggest names in music, just within the 2 square mile radius the downtown Hilton, Chicago is from across the street at the Lakefront Park. I wonder, with Tony Petitti and the job that he's got to do for this conference is constantly make more money. Every single year. Like, that's his job now. It's less about an academic. There's no academic aspect to any of this anymore. It's college football is the business. And it was funny. Pat Forty was on, a longtime sports writer at Sports Illustrated, was on Paul Feinbaum's show, and he was comparing Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, saying that Greg Sankey cares about the sanctity of the game, less Tony Petitti, who's just looking to find out where he can stick, I think it was Jersey Mike's advertisements on things. And I go, well, they're both doing the same thing. Like, miss me with the sanctity of the game at this point now, because all it is just talk and fluff. It's the job of Ross Bjork to find money, to find new revenue streams. Dylan, back in January, the NCAA gave the green light for schools to find sponsorships to have jersey patches, to find companies that would pay a sum of money to put a patch on your football jersey. And a lot of schools, a lot of now conferences have gone into deals that provide companies the opportunity to put a patch on their athletic uniforms. And, you think of the Big 12, and they're going to be doing, I haven't seen the pictures for the Big 12 Monster Energy co-brand patch. I can't imagine those things would look good. But schools in that conference, like I think to Kansas, I think to BYU, are going to have their own jersey patch sponsor, along with the Big 12's Monster co-branded sponsor. And I think, I hope the Big 10 doesn't come out with anything like that next week.
If they did, hopefully tasteful.
You hope, right? You hope for a lot of these schools. Like the Culver's Wisconsin thing, no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. It's just so funny to me, and we talked about this a few weeks ago on the Buckeye Show. It's very funny to see the recognizable bright red Wisconsin jersey, and then that recognizable bright blue, river blue, Lake Michigan blue Culver's logo on the Wisconsin uniform. Hey, it's good for Culver's, very recognizable. People are going to see it immediately, but I think you're hoping for a more tasteful thing when it comes to those jersey advertisements.
And especially here in Columbus. It's going to happen, right? We don't know exactly when. It's a massive
source of revenue.
But it is a matter of when. We don't know exactly when. I would think that before the football season, you're going to get an announcement from Ohio State with a jersey patch sponsor.
Hey, you want another Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith? This stuff's going to have to happen.
This is what it costs. And so I think Adidas is Wisconsin. It's either Adidas or Under Armour for the Badgers. Ohio State's got Nike. And when I think about Ohio State and their football uniforms, Andrew Lind runs the Ohio State uniform database. And so it's the largest collection of Ohio State football uniforms and when the Buckeyes have worn what and kind of why online. I'd advise you to all check it out. And he was discussing the potential for an Ohio State jersey patch earlier this week. And if you've got a pair of eyeballs and you've been on social media, you're looking at me going, Eric, what are you talking about hypothetical? Well, hypothetical. A uniform patch for Ohio State would have to have a team color. So if you wanted to do a logo, let's say a circular bank logo, that would have to be white on the scarlet uniform. So it would have to match the white on the Big Ten patch. It would have to match the white Nike swoosh. I'm thrilled that Nike, and I'm thrilled that's in the contract. And Andrew Lind says it, and so I take with what he discusses about uniforms in Ohio State and the agreements with Nike as gospel. That's good news for the Buckeyes and for Buckeye fans. Because I think when this news comes, it's going to be a little shocking. There's going to be a group of fans that hate the idea of it because they don't want their uniforms, the beloved Ohio State uniforms, to look like a NASCAR.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, and you're seeing it in every sport, right? Major League Baseball, it started with just the playoffs for Major League Baseball. Now you're seeing it during the regular season with Major League Baseball, the NHL, the NBA. The NBA was early to adopt it. The NFL does it for their practice jerseys. And I'm sure you'll see it in-game for the NFL at some point, right? Because no amount of money is ever enough. The NFL prints money, but no amount of money is ever enough. And now it's come to college football, and it's become an absolute necessity in college football to help these athletic departments stay afloat. If you want to have all these varsity sports and you want to be relevant, you've got to have this revenue. So it's important for Ohio State to maintain their 36 varsity sports. You're going to have to do something like this.
That's why when you see Ross Bjork come out and say $500 million is what in a couple of years we expect to spend. 36 varsity sports, you're doing it at the highest level. Yeah, I likened it to an AEP bill where in the summer, you're cranking your AC and you think, well, I'm going to probably spend more. But then once you see the bill, you're like, damn, I didn't think it was going to be that much. I think that's kind of the sticker shock that Ohio State fans experience, and probably Ross himself. Like, I'm really looking forward to if we get the opportunity when we're out at Ohio State's camp in 2 weeks to talk to Ross and to get his thoughts on when you saw the number, $500 million, $500 million for an athletic department. Like, you think, yes, to compete at the highest level of 36 varsity sports is going to cost a lot of money. $500 million. It's a little bit different when you see it on paper.
Well, and if you don't like this, and I completely get it if you don't like this, but say you're an Ohio State football fan and you're an Ohio State baseball fan. You really like going to Bill Davis Stadium and watching a Saturday game for Ohio State. The way I talked about, hey, if you want to have players like Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith going forward, this jersey patch is going to have to be a thing. Well, if you want to be a fan of Ohio State baseball, this jersey patch is going to have to be a thing. Say they sell this jersey patch for $10 million plus. That's floating 5 varsity sports. It's the fact of the matter. If you want to keep rooting for Ohio State athletics, it's just the way that it's going to have to be now, the way that NIL is trending.
And I commend the folks at Ohio State for keeping the line with 36 varsity sports. I know it was a big Gene Smith legacy play, and I know Ross has done his best to uphold that. And I think it's it just sets Ohio State apart in being that school that can provide those best kind of life-changing experiences for other sports than just what schools in the SEC are just cutting sports left and right. And I hate to see that with any school anywhere. Like, if you've got these varsity sports, you've got these awesome opportunities for kids out of high school if they're doing Olympic sports, if whatever it is. The fact that Ohio State come out and say we've got one of the best women's hockey teams in the country, we've got one of the best women's basketball programs in the Big Ten, we've got one of the best college football programs in the country. Like, no other school can really argue that. And I think that's an incredible feather in the cap for everybody related to Ohio State. We also, it's such a different environment that we've ever been in that I do feel, for season ticket holders at Ohio State, that if they can't afford, the donations, or they can't afford the increases in prices where they get priced out, generational fans that have had the same season tickets, it's a casualty of this all. But I do want to give credit to Ohio State fans and still maintaining the desire to purchase tickets and to cheer on the Buckeyes. Like, I certainly think back to my childhood and being on Lane Avenue for Ohio State football Saturdays. And I want so much for everybody to have that experience in Columbus, from the age that they can walk with their parents to the age that they're a college student on campus, getting to go down to the Horseshoe and experience what is one of the coolest things sporting-wise in the country, and that's an Ohio State football game day.
100%. And it's a staple in this town. It's an institution in this town, and I think it always should be. And, we're talking about the changing landscape in college athletics and college football specifically. Ohio Stadium, they're obviously making upgrades to get higher revenue sort of people into the building, field suites in general.
Yeah.
Those premium spaces
Loge boxes, seats on top of the loge boxes.
The premium spaces are huge across sports now, but the lifeblood is getting people from across the state of Ohio to Columbus, to Ohio Stadium, and cheering on the Buckeyes. So while we're talking about, hey, they're going to have to sell a jersey patch to make this possible. Hey, they're going to have to sell this on the field. They're going to have to sell that in a press box to make it possible. That can never go away, right? You always want to make it affordable for the fan base and have the people, the heart and soul of the football program at these games.
Well, you said it, right? The people, the tradition, the excellence. That's an Ohio State mantra. It's the people and the tradition that make this excellent. And so I hope they never lose sight of that. We will have Tyler Danburg from the Ohio State Sports Network on in 2 minutes. It's Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Delaware County Veterans Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of veteran county veteran service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veterans Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
ECO. I'm Aaron Gaynor for Eco Plumbers, Electricians, and HVAC Technicians.
And I'm Jerry.
At Eco, if you call us to repair your air conditioner and then decide to replace it a few years later, we'll give you back the money you paid us to repair it, up to $1,500.
Wait, we're giving money back now?
It's like a few extra years from your air conditioner. On us.
Get Eco.
ECO.
So, Aaron, I'm no businessman.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I invented the MP1 and the MP2, and you know how far those got me.
I know.
But how can we give people back the money they paid to repair their AC when they replace it with us later?
I put the money in a piggy bank.
A real piggy bank?
Get Eco.
ECO. Okay, it's a bank.
That makes sense.
I mean, it is $1,500.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco Plumbers, Electricians, and HVAC Technicians. Visit geteco.com.
Every summer morning is different. Luckily, Tim Hortons has a breakfast wrap for every morning. Kick off your summer with the bold new steak and egg wrap. Start your morning fresh with the egg white and Swiss wrap. Or keep it classic with the grilled breakfast wrap. No matter what summer mood you're in, you can always find a wrap at Tim Hortons. Your morning happy place.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Going on now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline to bring on Tyler Danburg of the Ohio State Sports Network and right here on the Fan. Tyler, thanks for the time this morning. I guess this afternoon now. Is this company sending you to Chicago next week for Big Ten Media Days?
I will be here in Columbus helping out Big Ten Media Days from here, but the fantastic team, I'm sure Austin and Berm will be out there. Nicole Sheeran and Adam King, they're going to be out there, so it's going to be a fun week out in Chicago. Tune in wherever you can, 97.1 The Fan and 10 TV as well to get the fantastic coverage.
It's a good job out of a quality company man there. Yeah, we'll have your coverage all week long here. What, from a non-Ohio State standpoint, are you most interested in from the conference next week in Chicago?
That's a fantastic question. I'm excited. I always love to hear the head coach press conference. I'm always interested how long some guys can filibuster in their opening statements, how quickly, some opening statements might be, I think Brett McMurphy from the SEC Media Days put out the shortest opening statement in SEC head coach history is Mike Leach with 5 and Lane Kiffin this year with 2,800. So I'm always interested to hear the perspectives from the Big Ten coaches. But I think to hear how these head coaches, because, again, a lot of them are going to be asked about how they're navigating this current landscape in college football, and there's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of questions asked, I'm sure, about playoff expansion. We know where the SEC and the Big Ten specifically shift in that span in the talks of ever-changing college football playoff expansion. And then to hear from Tony Petitti as well, between that and then with all the news about the Protect College Sports Act coming out within the last 48 to 72 hours, I'll be interested to hear what the commissioner has to say on where we're going in college sports as a whole.
Tyler, to all that, what do you want to hear from Ryan Day? Because this is a guy that he is a massive spokesperson when it comes down to it, not just for Ohio State, but for the Big Ten Conference. And so much is going on across college football. Of course, the Big Ten wants to answer. They want to respond to all the noise the SEC head coaches made at their media days last week. So what role do you think Ryan Day plays in all this?
Well, I think Ryan Day, you said it, Dylan, spokesperson. He's one of the leading coaches in the country on the field, but his voice means a lot off it, especially, when he's talked about different things in Big Ten coaches meetings. And, he's never shied away from being honest about where he stands. I go back to when they took away the 2 transfer portals, and he was very vocal about that. And I think, his voice carries so much weight. He's such a great steward of the game on the field and off it. So and then on top of that, looking at just the football team as a whole, I'm excited to hear about what he has to say about how this team has galvanized and come together this offseason with 51 new guys. We keep harping on it, but getting to hear from him for really the first time this summer. We've heard from him in the spring, but getting to hear from him this summer about how this team has come together heading into fall camp with just so many new pieces to the puzzle that will be put in place.
Tyler, you think the Big Ten and the SEC could actually go it alone and be successful, departing from the NCAA?
My thoughts personally, they definitely could be successful with those 2 entities. I mean, the SEC and the Big Ten, they're just 2 giants in the sport and in college athletics. So I think that there's some bizarro world where if those 2 happen to break away, they could be incredibly successful. You look at the last 3 college football national championship games. It's so intriguing because the SEC holds a lot of weight, but I saw somebody put it out there. I can't remember who, but you look at the last 3 college football playoff national championship games. Let's say the SEC hypothetically broke away over 3 years ago. It still wouldn't have changed any matchup in each of the last 3 national championship games. But then you've got the argument on the other side where, well, maybe I think Nick Saban brought up some interesting points and some good points as well, that, you don't necessarily have to look at conference strength and who the best conference is just based off of who won the national championship each of the last 3 years. Well, Big Ten school has won the national championship each of the last 3 years. So I think there's both ends to the argument. And so with that, I think the conclusion is, well, with arguments to both, if the SEC and Big Ten were to break away between those 2, they could be successful. But I think the NCAA's got a good thing going for it. Hopefully it's going to continue to have a good thing going for it, and we can continue to prosper these next few years down the line.
Tyler, earlier in our show, we were talking about Indiana and kind of the role that Indiana has created for itself and now being a power in the Big Ten Conference. And, they are a power broker alongside the likes of Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State, and Oregon, I think, is in that conversation too. In your opinion, what do you think that Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers mean to the Big Ten now when it comes to, fighting, I guess, for lack of a better word, against the SEC?
They mean so much because, again, they're a living testament, Dylan, to what good talent evaluation, resources, and quickly flipping around a program can do to college football. Now, it will be interesting to see, can this model be replicated in other parts around the country, because I think, well, Indiana did this so quickly, but we know that Curt Cignetti is in the top 5, top 10% of talent evaluators. Staff retention is another big thing. I mean, for him to be able to retain offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan and defensive coordinator Bryant Haynes, like, that means so much. And so I think that Indiana's role in the Big Ten, you've got your Giants and your long-term blue bloods, but then you've also got Indiana, which is living proof in this current world of college athletics, where if you put in the resources, you put in the staff, and you can evaluate that talent and get the most out of it, then you can turn one of the more dormant programs in the sport and flip it around into hoisting a national championship 2 years later.
Tyler Danburg is our guest on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. TD and also his role at the Fan is on the Ohio State Sports Network. Will be roaming the sidelines for the Buckeyes coming up September 5th against Ball State. And then you're going to Austin for week 2 against the Texas Longhorns. And heard comments from Steve Sarkisian earlier this week, and he was bemoaning about how they didn't make the college football playoff last year, and how they should be rewarded in a sense for tougher scheduling. Tyler, where do you see kind of the happy medium with all of this in terms of future scheduling in the sport?
Well, hopefully we never go away from scheduling big non-conference games 2 to 3 weeks into the season. It's just so great for the sport, but you can see why some head coaches might shy away from that. Some programs might shy away from it. But then on the other side, losing to Florida, if Texas doesn't lose to Florida, they're still in the playoff with the surge that they had. That Ohio State game in week 1 shouldn't have affected anything, assuming they beat the Gators. Like, it's plain and simple. It does take a little bit of momentum away from the sport, but you can see why, there are some conferences that schedule the FCS opponents or a non-con late in the season, a week before a big rivalry game. That's a very strategic part of the SEC. But hopefully, in my opinion, it's just so great for the game, and teams shouldn't be reprimanded for wanting to play a giant 2 to 3 weeks into the season. And let's say you play a highly contested ball game and you lose, or you come out on top and win. That should hold weight. And, there are conditions in the college football playoff where that does help a team's strength. Whether they win or lose, it doesn't have as much of an effect. And I think, Notre Dame, for an example, though, we look at them as a case last year. When you play really contested games against Miami and Texas A&M, and that is at the start of the year, and so much can happen down the road, and then that goes against them, I think there is a little bit of that gray area, but I hope that we never get away from those big non-conference tilts. And I think strength of record and strength of matchup are going to be 2 big things that should still be taken into account these next few years.
Tyler, you're a big part of Ohio State football broadcasts here on the Fan and, of course, across the Ohio State Sports Network. So I want to go a little bit off topic and ask you a broadcast nerd question. In year 1 for you last season, what'd you learn about the broadcast about yourself that you maybe want to apply and change this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing, going into this year is to continue to try and bring things to the table and talk about things that can't be seen up from the booth, or to try and provide one of the 5 senses of what's happening down there to the airwaves. But I think, Dylan, to get to see how meticulous from the pregame show to how meticulous quarter 1 through quarter 4 in the postgame setup is, it's so perfectly crafted, and it's so routine oriented, and it's been fine tuned down to a science over the years. I think from a sideline perspective, trying to be more brevet within the 15 seconds, and to even be more conversational. I think that's one thing to look to try and improve on heading into this year. If maybe there's something that Jim Lachey mentions while a drive's happening, and maybe he says something that'll spark my interest to try and investigate a little bit more once the offense or defense comes off the field to bring it back to Paul and Jim. That's going to be one big goal heading into the year. But it's just an absolute blessing and blast to work with Paul, Jim, Skip, Colin, DR, and company. It was a great first year. I'm really looking forward to another fantastic season of Buckeye football.
Year 2 for you begins in 42 days. Ohio State, Ball State, Saturday, September 5th at 12:30. Tyler Danburg, sideline reporter for the Ohio State Sports Network, kind enough to give us some of his time today. Bud, thanks so much for it. Look forward to your coverage in Big Ten Media Days this week.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
The consummate professional joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Scary. He's like 22.
A traditionally excellent person.
Yeah, it's great. It's great having him. It's great having you all here with us on a Sports Saturday spectacular that we will put a bow on next.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Big celebrations call for even bigger savings. Diamonds Direct is celebrating 30 years of sharing life's biggest moments with you with up to 30% off select styles, with 15% off virtually everything else in the showroom. The Diamonds Direct anniversary sale is only through July 26th, and we don't want you to miss it. Whether you've been waiting for the right moment or you just found your reason, this is it. Come find yours before the sale ends. Visit diamondsdirect.com or find a store near you.
QC Kinetics helps active people stay active. People like David Boardman, police officer, competitive athlete, and gym owner who trains hard almost every day.
My body's taken a lot of abuse over the years. I've had multiple knee surgeries on both of my knees. I could barely run a mile prior to going to QC Kinetics. Doctors have all told me, hey, you are going to need knee replacements.
But QC Kinetics gave David great news.
We're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
And after David's regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics?
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week. I really wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for QC Kinetics.
From knee pain to Ironman training.
It's a no-brainer.
Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics to book your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Come into your local AAA Tire and Auto Service and save up to $30 on auto repair with their AAA Triple Play. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer valid through July 31st. See store for details.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is $600 million. But who's counting? Everybody. That's who. Get tickets today for your chance at $600 million before the next Powerball jackpot hits. If scratching is more your style, check out the new $50 Millionaire Blowout Scratch-Off for a shot at $1 million instantly. Or pick up any Ohio Lottery Scratch-Off to put a little play in your day. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Something big has just dropped at Hothead Burritos. Introducing barbecue pork carnitas. Juicy, mouth-watering pork carnitas. Our limited-time new citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Savor the summer flavor. Hothead Burritos. Get up and get you some.
Scotty Vegas here, and my new Bronco from Krieger Ford might go down as one of my best purchases of all time. I love it. The family loves it. I decided to get my wife's car some much-needed service. Krieger Ford conveniently picked up her car. I was prepared to spend a ton on repairs. Nope. They walked me through the problems, and it was fixed and brought back to our driveway in a day. Plus, saved me some money for some summertime parlays. The Krieger Ford experience is awesome. See for yourself at KriegerFord.com.
Iconic summer moments deserve an iconic drink. Reach for Mountain Dew, an American original. From its beginnings in the foothills of Tennessee to your biggest summer yet. The refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew is the perfect companion to your American summer adventures. Enjoy the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Tasting great since '48. Look for Mountain Dew in stores near you at MountainDew.com. That's MountainDew.com.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
When it's too hot to go out, it's definitely too hot for your AC to go out. The Waterworks Heating and Cooling Pros are here to help. We offer fast repair and AC replacement for any cooling system when you need it. Plus, we're a premier Lennox dealer and can install an energy-efficient system for a great price. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit us online at thewaterworks.com. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Federal Elite Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
So appreciate all the time you gave us on this Saturday. Appreciate Tyler Danburg from the Ohio State Sports Network joining us in that last segment. Appreciate Aaron Portzline of The Athletic for coming on with us in the 11 o'clock hour. Anything from this program that you missed, anything from any of our programs that you missed at WBNS Radio on YouTube. The show will also be available in podcast form, so make sure you subscribe to the Fan Podcast wherever it is you do your podcasting. I don't think this will be available in podcast form following us, but Buckeye Replay heads back to New Orleans for the 2015 Sugar Bowl between Ohio State and Alabama. Spoiler alert. Well, I won't spoil it for you.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
So that game against Alabama combined with the Big Ten title game against Wisconsin, it's essentially the reason that I'm here right now.
Really?
I was a high school senior in Southern California, and I had no idea where I wanted to go to college, and I applied to a bunch of colleges, and I was watching, a combination of those games, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should apply to Ohio State because I wanted to go to a blue blood that had great sports. I'm like, Ohio State seems like a lot of fun. This is great. So I applied to Ohio State because they were on my TV a couple of weeks in a row, and I went to Ohio State, and I got into broadcasting, and here I sit.
I mean, that's, for so many of these gigantic universities, like the football program. I think it was a Bobby Bowden comment where it's the front porch of the university. And so you can thank Cardale Jones and then Ezekiel Elliott because you'll hear the call from Paul Keels 85 yards through the heart of the South. That's the reason you're sitting here today.
It is. Think about that with Indiana. We talked about the largest living alumni base in the United States with 800K. Now that they're good at football.
Well, Southern schools get that bump, too, because I don't know if you've ever been to Tuscaloosa. There ain't much to it.
Yeah. I knew people that went to Alabama from Southern California, and why else would you go there? You wouldn't hear about Alabama
I don't know why you
otherwise.
would go from Los Angeles to Tuscaloosa.
Well, people ask me that a lot about coming to Ohio State, and
no,
I've got my reasons, but Alabama's far different.
It's so much different. Like Tuscaloosa has an Arby's, and I wouldn't even recommend that. We bumped by Tuscaloosa. When we do a road trip, this was a decade ago, we were driving to New Orleans, and you just, when you're seeing, hey, they're on the map, let's check it out. There was an Arby's. The stadium's really cool. The football, is such a huge part of that campus. Like you can't go anywhere without seeing something Alabama football. And it's similar with Columbus, Ohio. Like you can't really go anywhere without seeing Ohio State. And, the Buckeyes, and it's funny, back to that 2014 team, I saw we had this on the sheet, but didn't talk about it with Tom Herman and the trek that his coaching career has taken from, being offensive coordinator of Ohio State for that national championship season. And Now he's making $25 an hour as an assistant to Mike Norvell at Florida State.
He was so hot after that.
What?
Tom Herman was one of the hottest names in college football.
And it fizzled out at Texas. It fizzled out at FAU. But they paid him $15 million. The Longhorns did after firing him in 2021. And then his buyout from FAU was $4 million. So when people were saying, like, oh, he's making $25 an hour, it's like, yeah, he's probably just making the minimum they'll pay him.
It's one way to make your money.
It's such a good living.
One of those buyouts,
be a head coach. Get a buyout. Never have to do anything again.
Kids out there, if you're listening, become a college football head coach.
Because Florida State in the 90s was a lot like what Ohio State is now, or a lot like what Alabama was under Nick Saban. It's people wanted to go to that university, wanted to go. And reason, because it's in Florida, and the beautiful people that go to FSU because their football team was great. And, you know, Bobby Bowden had them as dominant as any program that we've ever seen. And now they're kind of the ultimate sliding door moment in recent, at least college football playoff history was what do you do with that 13-0 FSU team and leaving them out of the playoff? And now they're just
hang a banner.
Have a parade. Now they're irrelevant. And there was talk, you know, the past couple of weeks that the FSU was going to get out of the ACC. It's like, who wants them? I don't know what the future of that league.
I mean, if they were to go to the SEC, for example, they would just become another one of those schools that I listed off at the top of the broadcast, the Auburn, the Florida that went, 1-7 in conference play and finished, with 4 wins on the season. It's just going to be an endless rotation of teams in that conference doing that, and some coming back to life, some dying, et cetera, et cetera.
And I because I listen to, I try to listen to people that I think are smarter than me in covering college football, and they say that there's going to be more expansion. That the Big Ten and the SEC, that it's likely the Big Ten and the ACC, if the ACC implodes and schools decide that they want to depart, the Big Ten would take them, and the SEC would do a counter move. And that they would try to poach before the Big Ten poaches. And I go, do you need any of this? I long so much for how college football was, and I wish it would just go back to the regionality of it. Mm-hmm. Great that, Oregon and Washington were able to find a home after the collapse of the Pac-12, but did it need to be the Big Ten? Could they have not done something to protect that region and not come over to the Big Ten? Did the Big Ten need to add Rutgers in Maryland?
Just get Notre Dame into the Big Ten finally.
That's the fish, right? If you can land that one. And I want so bad for them to be able to relegate Rutgers, to be able to relegate Maryland. They're not going to leave because the money for them is so good. And, Rutgers is boggling money all over the place. But it's 18 teams. I have 18 teams next week for the Big Ten Media Days. Get it? That makes sense to nobody. But we need 20-team or Big Ten. Because then, of course, the SEC would want to move past 16 because they've got to keep up. Mm-hmm. And it's just not good for the sport of it all. It stinks. It's where we're going. I say all of that to understand that this is going to be happening. This is going to go in the way of expanding. When Tyler was on with us, he had mentioned the College Sports Act and how the Senate has like a week to do this before they go on vacation, which is like, really?
That's not going to happen.
Well, John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader last week, told reporters they're not going to pass it. It's not likely to go to the floor of the Senate before they go on the break. And then you've got the midterms. See, I'm learning things about how our government works.
Because they made it relatable for you.
Because they made it relatable. Made it very easy for stupid Eric to understand how our 3 branches of our government work, where the executive is just like, yeah, of course I want to appease all of these people. I love Nick Saban and Tommy Tuberville, great. And
if you weren't paying attention in 5th grade, college football's got your back
will
now.
Do it for you. Yeah, with the protect.
Where's the Schoolhouse Rock for college football song?
Just a bill on Capitol Hill. Well, the Protect College Sports Act will not hit the floor. It will just sit there and be idle. And then next year when they say, we've got to have the government step in to protect it, I wonder what clever thing they'll call it. It's good for me, Dylan. Hope it was good for you.
Yeah, it was great. Love talking sports with you guys.
2 weeks. We're out at Ohio State's training camp because, like I said, we are 42 days from Ohio State and Ball State on the Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences.